We are live. Hello and welcome into the YouTube stream for everyone tuning in. Good to have you in here with us today. We're going to go ahead and hop into our conversations with over 100 Trump supporters. In fact, we already have our first Trump supporter on the line, sir. What is your name?
Nico.
Nico. Well, welcome in, Nico. Nico is 27, supports the administration. Take it away and tell us why.
Because I feel like that you keep saying that the unemployment was like the rate was as bad as the depression times, but I don't think so. That's true. He actually created a lot of jobs when he was a president. It did go down, of course, when the pandemic started, but he didn't even take the pandemic as serious as the Democrats did.
All right.
So
All right, Nico. Let me ask you a question. So let's be specific about what my claim was, okay? We need to be
okay.
specific. I just started live on YouTube, so let's rehash what I claimed. I claimed that if you're going to say that Trump caused whatever happened in America during his term, this means that you think he would have caused the highest level of unemployment since the Great Depression in April of 2020. Nico, do you have a computer in front of you, possibly?
I just have my phone.
Would you believe me if I told you that the level of unemployment in America in April of 2020 was 14.8%?
Okay.
Would you also believe me if I told you that we haven't had a level of unemployment equivalent to or higher than 14.8% since the Great Depression in the early 20th century?
What was it in 2019? Because he started in 2016, right?
The level of unemployment in 2019 was dramatically lower
Yeah. So why did it jump? Because he
because
came
of the
into
business
office.
shutdowns associated with the
Yeah, I got
pandemic.
let go a March of 2020. I
You
still
would be a part
remember.
of that statistic then. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we were given the COVID relief. So you can't say that he caused that unemployment. The
So
pandemic was in
I
the
bel
whole world,
so Nico,
not just America.
I believe that the pandemic caused that level of unemployment.
Yes.
However, the last guest's argument was that Trump is a good president because he thought that the state of the American economy was good under his term, and he thinks that you could assume whatever happens in the American economy is caused by the president. Okay, so his underlying assumption there is that whatever happens in America is caused by the president. So when I say, oh, so you therefore think that Trump caused the highest level of unemployment since the Great Depression, that's an internal critique of his false logic. So you're not disagreeing with me, you're disagreeing with the last guest's bad logic.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Makes sense.
So
And
why
then
do you support
also,
Trump?
Uh, I just feel like the Biden administration, like they send too much money out to Ukraine. They're not for American people. Inflation is through the roof. Gas prices. I live in California. You already know it's so hard out here. I don't know what state you're in. So I just feel like they're. I understand some of their policies are good, but a lot of their policies are affecting people negatively. Like they wanted to ban TikTok. You're on live on TikTok and they threw in a little bill. Hey, we're gonna ban TikTok and right under a $90 billion to Ukraine. Why are we sending 90 billion to Ukraine when our roads are like crap? There's homeless people
The roads
everywhere.
are like crap.
Yeah, like they're
The
bro.
Biden Harris
Um,
administration passed $1 trillion infrastructure bill to thank that. So when it's fixed, thank Biden. Now, you said, why are we sending $90 billion to Ukraine? Well, we went into the Budapest Memorandum with the country in the 90s, stating that we'd defend them if they're invaded. Seems like a good idea to me. Seemingly, after Trump stopped humanitarian aid to Ukraine, they've been getting bombed to shit by Russia, even though Ukraine and Zelensky has given Russia ample time, months, to accept any ceasefire agreement, which has led to Trump begging Putin to stop. So seemingly Trump fucked up by stopping that support for Ukraine. Now, I'd also like to ask you, you said that Biden caused inflation, caused gas prices to increase. How did Biden do that?
by giving out a lot of money, the
Giving out a
stimulus
lot of
checks.
money, the
So
stimulus
we were when
checks.
we were getting all the stimulus checks, I feel like it was bringing the value of the dollar down because they were printing so much money,
Let me
and
ask you a
our
question.
debt doubled while they were in
Let
office.
me ask you a question. How much did the Biden Harris administration spend on stimmy checks?
I don't know the numbers, my man, but
I
I
do.
just know that they did.
The American Rescue Act cost $1.9 trillion. How much did Trump spend on stimmy checks?
I don't know, and
2.5
I
trillion
believe you
dollars.
on
So
this.
more than Biden. So that means that Trump would have caused more inflation than Biden. But let's get a little bit more general. How much new debt did the Trump administration sign into law?
I don't know.
$8.6 trillion. My source is the CRFB, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. According to
Okay,
that same source, how much did the Biden-Harris administration new debt? How much new debt did they sign into law?
don't know.
Half of that, around $4.6 trillion. So if your issue here is hating the Democrats because of how much money they spent, Trump spent twice as much as they did. Now, according to the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, Trump's policy is estimated to cost 4 times as much as the policy that Harris ran on. So, seemingly, using your own logic against you, Kamala Harris would have been the better pick if you care about fiscal responsibility.
Okay, okay. Okay, I get where you're coming from because on paper and on stats, it does seem like Kamala will be a better pick. But what would have happened? Okay, so look, when Trump was in office, there was no wars, and then when they were in office, there was Ukraine and Russia war started when Biden was in office, um, China and Taiwan, and then Israel and Palestine. So there was so much fighting going on. America was so involved. I understand America is still under even Trump. We're dealing with Yemen and all that, but what I'm saying is that he's more of like I think like he's more of like a better candidate in that aspect. Like he has everything. People are scared when Biden was walking around the stage, falling down. That's
Nico,
America.
Nico, I want to respond to the no wars part. So that's not true. So we actually had the Turkish-Kurdish war start under Trump's first administration, and funny enough, that was actually caused by American pulling out and telling the Kurds to either run or die. Right? We also had a 438% increase in drone strikes in the Middle East. There was a proxy war with Russia and Syria, alongside other events. But if you're saying that because there was wars that happened on the global stage under the Biden-Harris administration, that means that the American president causes all global conflict. That's your principle. Does this mean that Trump caused the Indian-Pakistan quote unquote war?
Um,
I don't know enough about it to classify it as
yeah,
a war
I think
certainly,
so.
but
But
the Indian Pakistani conflict, we'll say.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think
You
that
do think Trump caused that?
okay, but their India didn't attack them because of Trump. They attacked them because of terrorism. So
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know.
okay. Just like Russia didn't invade Ukraine because of Biden, Russia invaded Ukraine because of terrorism and ethnic cleansing and wanting to rebuild the USSR.
But okay, look. Okay, look right here. If it was Biden, he would have sent so much aid to India because America stands with India. They would have sent aid to India. They would have sent a lot of stuff. And it
Okay, I don't want to speculate about India and Pakistan. I more so want to talk
okay,
about the claim that you made under the Biden Harris administration relating to Ukraine. I don't think that Biden caused Russia to invade Ukraine. In fact, I think it's evidently clear that Democrats are more pro Ukraine, anti Russia than Republicans, and that's an undeniable fact. Who supports funding Ukraine? Who doesn't?
absolutely, yeah. No, I understand. America supports Ukraine, and in
No, not
my
America, Democrats.
Democrats, yeah. Okay, so what I would just want to say
So
is
then,
that
how did Biden cause Russia to invade Ukraine?
um I get it. Okay, he didn't, right?
So then,
Let
why would you
me
say he did?
but what I'm saying is that look at how fast the conflicts between India and Pakistan stopped compared to Ukraine and Russia.
Who's
Um,
president
uh,
right now?
Trump said, "Hey,
Has the Ukraine Russian war stopped?
uh, I don't know. I
No, it
haven't heard
hasn't.
about it
It
on
hasn't,
social
in
media."
fact. So why are you making this false, illogical claim?
But okay, look. So the war that started, I mean, the fight that started under him, he stopped in within a week. He said, "Hey, I'm gonna put tariffs on India," and then India ceasefire, and then Pakistan knows not to mess with American ally India because they're gonna get their shit bombed.
That's not
That's a
true.
lot.
What you just said isn't true, by the way. I want to be
Okay,
very clear.
what's
So,
true then? You fill
Donald
me
Trump
in.
did not place tariffs on India to stop the Pakistan-Indian conflict.
He he said he will.
That is actually not true at all. Oh, so now you're shifting the goalposts. You're going from saying that he did place tariffs to saying that he will place tariffs.
Okay, I don't sit
Right?
in front
And
of a
in
mic
fact,
and
it's important to point out that JD Vance said that the U.S. fundamentally has no involvement in India and Pakistan.
yeah, but he visited them 2 weeks ago, and the whole like conflict started, and then boom, it's ended too. everything is back to
Because
normal
of a
now.
ceasefire between India and Pakistan after JD Vance said that we instrumentally have no involvement in India and Pakistan. I understand that Trump got on a mic after that they met that ceasefire agreement in the absence of the U.S. and claimed it to be a win of his own. But he tends to do that with things that he's not involved with all the fucking time. Think about originally after think about the bounce back from in the stock market as a result of him placing a pause on his tariffs. He said that's the Trump stock market. But then think about how it fell afterwards. He then said that was the Biden stock market. He manipulates any scenario that he finds himself in to make it benefit him and serve his self-interests if it's good, and make it serve as a detriment to his enemies and serve against their self-interests if it's bad. He does this all the time. He's a liar. Okay, this is why he told over 30,000 confirmed lies during his first term. This is why he told the biggest lie that any sitting president has ever told with his denial of the outcome of the 2020 election. And this is likely why he's saying this shit today. But if he was so good at conflict resolution, why is Russia still ethnically cleansing Ukraine? He said he was going to end it on day one.
Okay, look, so you know how you said about the stock market? Okay, so he did that to bring the rates down so he can get the rates to come down because of the how bad the national debt is
The
for
chairman of
the
the Fed, Jerome Powell, announced that he is not lowering rates since he's worried about inflation caused by Trump's tariffs.
Okay, of course, that will in the short term, the tariffs will affect every single American, right?
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about your claim that he did that to lower rates. The chairman of the Fed has announced he's not going to do that.
Yeah, but not everything that he does can we can see a response right away. I'm actually
He has to refinance the debt this year.
okay, but trust me, I think they did cut a little bit of rates.
No, they announced that they actually slowed the rate at which they're cutting the rates because of Trump's tariffs. That is what Jerome Powell said.
So are they cutting them or no?
They're cutting them at a slower rate than they would have if he didn't introduce his tariffs and crash the stock market.
He crashed the stock market. It's time to buy. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
No,
right,
I'm just
right,
kidding.
Nico. You're a fucking cult member. Yeah, Donald Trump crashes the stock market, evaporates trillions of dollars, sends America barreling towards a recession, cuts our GDP in the first financial quarter of 2025. But guess what? It's an investor's economy. It's time to buy, and everybody will get rich. And that's what you do. You just have an excuse for everything that he does, and this
No,
is why today
and
in America,
honestly,
Trump is emboldened by you alongside millions of other Americans that lick the boot, emboldened fascism, and now he's standing on his fucking podium trying to consolidate power to himself, preaching that he's going to ignore the Supreme Court, saying he doesn't know if he has to uphold the Constitution, and introducing fascism into America today because no matter what he does, he's still your Lord and Savior. And the fact that you just justified him belligerently crashing the stock market and then stating he did it intentionally for a reason that never came to fruition proves it.
and then with the tariffs with China, they came to an agreement, 90-day
Why are
hold.
you pivoting? I'll let you talk about whatever you want, but right now you're in a corner. I want you to respond to what I just said.
Okay, you were talking about how he crashed the stock market, and that's all he does, and then
No, you
um,
claim that he crashed the stock market to lower rates to refinance debt at lower rates. Then I said the Fed announced that they are lowering rates at a lower rate because of his tariffs, which crashed the stock market, meaning that that was not true. And then you said, "Oh, okay, I don't care. I guess it's a good time to buy."
yeah, okay. So trust me, he has to do it by the end of this year. Uh, he will figure something out. I
Right,
know.
60 chess, right? Like master negotiator, 60 chess. He knows what he's doing. Come on.
Yeah, okay. Because look, okay,
So you just said trust me. So this is a trust me
I
bro,
I
right?
I I graduated high school in 16
Nico,
when he
just real
went.
quick. You said trust me. So I just want to like reiterate that the evidence for your claim is a literal definitional trust me bro.
Okay, because I'm not into this. Like how you are. You are very knowledgeable. I'm just a guy scrolling on TikTok, but I did see that you're super against Trump, and I'm like, as long as he was okay. So me, I
Oh, sorry.
graduated 16. In 16, I started working. I was doing really well, got good jobs, doing like had no issue ever finding a job, nothing. And 2020 hit, got let go from my sales job and was kind of devastated. But of course, they started giving us the unemployment. And once the unemployment, I was on unemployment for 2 years. Then got into a logistics business because it was super busy because of COVID. We were very
Nico, I
backed up.
appreciate you for sharing this with me, but I fail to see how it's relevant.
Okay, I understand. And then now, since since Biden was in office, the logistic business went super down.
Yeah, tell me what Biden did to harm your industry.
He jacked up diesel prices
How?
insanely.
How did he do that?
They went in 20 when Trump was in office in California, diesel was like $2 and
So
fifty
you're doing the
cents.
same thing that the last guest did. You're saying because he was president and happened, it was his fault. Guess what? Your logic implies COVID was Trump's fault. Your logic implies that the 14.8% level of unemployment in 2020 was Trump's fault.
How is that Trump's fault? It was
Because it happened
cheaper.
under his term. You're literally arguing
These
right now that diesel prices being more expensive under Biden than Trump's first term is Biden's fault because he was president when it happened. Think about it, Nico. Use your brain for 3 seconds. If you're
Okay.
going to say that it's his fault because it happened under his term, what happened under Trump's term? Both of the two things I just pointed out happened under Trump's term: the start of COVID that killed millions of people and the highest level of unemployment since the Great Depression.
Okay, so you're saying million of people died because of COVID, right? But how come I have family members that are doctors and nurses, and they said that people dying from other scenarios too were being listed as um, under COVID, like their deaths were
So
like
I just want to clarify that you don't think that millions of people died because of COVID.
I don't. If that was true, nobody I know
Great,
hundreds of
great.
people, nobody I know died from COVID.
Hey,
None.
So it's it. Go ahead, Dan.
I just have a very simple question.
If it was
Has anybody that you've ever known specifically died of lead poisoning?
no, I don't. But they were saying it's like the plague. So in plague, 1 in 3 people died. Imagine how they're gonna tell people the news how bad COVID was. In COVID, I did not wear a mask. I was still going out. It was
So I
making it
just want to
harder on
clarify.
rest.
It's estimated that around 400,000 deaths per year in the U.S. can be attributed to lead poisoning and exposure. Oh, but nobody you have ever
Oh,
known has died of lead poisoning.
that's what I was about to say. Well, Nico doesn't know him, so it's not an actual thing. It doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever been to Australia?
No, I have not.
Okay,
I
must
don't
mean
like
Doesn't
Australia
science.
doesn't
exist.
exist.
Nope,
No, I know
not a real
exists.
thing.
Okay, but look, so where I was at with this is that with COVID, okay,
I
look, so
honestly, you're really annoying, Nico. Stop talking about something that you know nothing about.
okay, but
I'm sorry for being like blunt. It literally like physically pains me and like very like physically like irks me to my soul when like people are like, "Oh, COVID wasn't a big deal, wasn't anything, no biggie, didn't kill people, didn't matter." And I know this because guess what? I've not had a family member die from it. You know what I mean? Listen, sir. Could we agree that that brushing your teeth with toothpaste is good for your dental hygiene and can prevent cavities?
yeah, but
Okay.
flossing is better.
Okay. Okay. You're supposed to do both, Nico.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That flossing will actually save you from cavities more than just brushing your
Oh,
teeth.
wait. So, Dean, does that mean like actually getting a vaccine and, using social distancing or a mask? Like if you do both of them
Oh.
together, that it's actually better than just one?
Oh, that's pretty good, so
Yeah,
Tim.
okay, look, so what I want to
But
say is
Nico,
that
what I was going to finish to say is that well, I've known people that have brushed their teeth religiously and gotten multiple cavities. Then on the other hand, I've known people that only brush their teeth maybe once a day that have gotten none.
yeah, it
If
depends what
brushing
you
your
eat. If you're
teeth,
drinking
if
soda.
brushing your teeth is really something that helps your dental hygiene and the prevention of cavities, why do I know people that have brushed their teeth more with with less cavities, and people that have brushed their teeth less with, or sorry, brushed their teeth more with more cavities, and people that have brushed their teeth less with less cavities?
Yeah, it just depends on what you eat and if you're eating a lot of
Oh,
candy.
okay, okay. So like maybe like exposure to COVID related to one's likelihood or propensity to die as a result of being exposed to COVID is dependent upon underlying disease or age or various different complex factors that you likely wouldn't understand or know. Neither would I.
Okay,
Dean, it
go
sounds like
ahead.
he just admitted to there being nuances. I think that, Nico, did you just realize that there's individual factors that actually change the parameters of different circumstances?
Yeah, yeah, of course. Uh,
Oh, so wait, hold on. So because I came up here specifically for a question for you because I really need this, I need you to stay right here because you're right there, right?
mhm.
So earlier you were talking about, well, with Trump. he would have ended. You see how quickly the Pakistan-India conflict has drawn down, but the Ukraine and Russia conflict has not. Hey, what's the difference? Like, what's the major difference in the wars for these two countries? Or conflicts, let's just say conflicts. There's something really, really important that you're actually just forgetting all about.
To be honest, off the top of my head, I don't know.
Cool. What's something that Russia, India, and Pakistan all have that Ukraine doesn't have anymore because of the Budapest Memorandum?
An army, I guess.
No, nukes.
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 Oh
The
yes.
simple fact of the matter is that India and Pakistan escalating past the point where they already were has way more ramifications than Ukraine and Russia. And also, on the same hand, the reason why Russia is so bold as far as intruding on Ukraine is because they don't have that deterrent. So if you don't think about those additional factors, you can't just attribute, oh, it's Trump. No, no, there's actual factors that play into not only the conflict, but also COVID, also a lot of different things. And for you to sit here and act like you don't understand, nuances or factors, you're being obtuse.
Got you. Okay, my thing is, can we trust our health? Because we're talking about COVID right before the war. You were telling me, can we trust our health care industry? Because I went to the doctor and I was just coughing and stuff, and just to get a note, and he said I have COVID. And I went to a different facility up the street, and they said, "Oh, you just have a cough. Take this medicine." Like they gave me
Your
promethazine.
doctor probably told you that you should get tested for COVID.
Yeah, no, I did get tested to COVID through my nostril, and they told me both places tested me. One place said this happened to me, like straight up. I went to the. It's not like, oh, a buddy told me a story. This happened to me. I went to two urgent cares, and one gave me cough syrup because they said, oh, you have a cough. Just take this at night.
Yeah,
Don't
the
drive.
one that told you that you might have COVID tested you, proved
No,
that you
they
had a
said I have
positive.
COVID. They gave me a whole thing. Oh, I can't go to work.
Yeah,
Can't do
they
this.
tested you. It showed that you did have COVID, and
And then I cured driving over after 30 minutes away. I mean, like
right,
30 minutes.
and then you went to another urgent care facility that wasn't performing right. That should have their licenses revoked. Didn't suppose that you could even have like. Did the second location even test you?
Yeah, they did.
I don't believe you.
No, I'm being serious. They tested me 100%.
So both locations tested you. One said
And one
that the
said
test
I
came
had
back
COVID,
positive.
and one said
Can you show
I
us the?
did.
Could you show us the paperwork for the tests?
I cannot.
Why
This was
not?
like a very long time ago.
Can you show us any evidence? Like typically, that you'll walk away from urgent care with a readout of what they serviced you
I'm
for,
not gonna have the
including
readout
like a positive
on
or
me.
negative
If you don't
test.
trust me, it's fine.
Or
I
also, hey, Nico, have you ever heard of any false positives?
Yeah, no, I understand. I do feel like I got a false positive. That's why I went to another place. But then I get you. I'm not on
Nico,
here to like.
I'm kind of done with you. Is there anything else that you want to go over?
Nah, that's about it. You have a blessed day. Thank you.
Yeah, great. You as well, Nico. We're gonna move on to the next guest. Santana, how you doing?
Bro, I'm so good. I was just listening to you run your head into the wall with this guy. I mean, like, what in the world?
Yeah, yeah. You know, like sometimes I feel like I'm like a little bit like too rude to guests, but like honestly, like I don't know, like that guest specifically, like really just annoyed the fuck out of me. Like I'm not gonna
I
lie.
don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't
gonna
know. I
lie.
thought you were like super patient and super kind until like you kept him here long enough for me to get my question off, but I could tell you were done. When you were done, you were done.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
was. Hey, man, if you're watching the stream, everybody, make sure that you're double tapping on that phone screen. Go ahead and hop in that queue if you're MAGA. Let me know in that chat. We'll pull you up. What's going on, Jackson? Are you MAGA?
Oh, no, I'm actually not MAGA. I
Then don't
live in
spam MAGA in the
San
chat. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next guest. Let's go ahead and see if, dude, if you're spamming MAGA in the chat, then it ends up that you're not actually MAGA. Yeah, I'm going to kick you out really quick, kind of like that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next guest, everyone. Give us a minute to get that next guest up in the box. Here we go, Cousins is loaded in. What's going on? Are you
Yo,
MAGA?
what's good? What's good? Yeah, I'm MAGA.
How old are
MAGA
you?
Nation, baby. I'm 28.
You're 28, MAGA Nation, super cringe. Okay, all right. Cousins, take it away. Oh, wait. Kid Holly, are you MAGA? Kid Holly's not here. All right, Mr. MAGA Nation, take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
Yeah, I support Trump because even though you say his unemployment rate was 14.8% during a global pandemic, I do believe that is those are good numbers, in my opinion. Because you were trying to make the comparison about against the Great Depression, when the Great Depression there was 135 U.S. citizens according to the census, the unemployment rate was at 24.9%, not 14.8%. And to account for the population of America almost tripling in that time,
Hey, Cousins.
and to still only acquire 14.8 unemployment,
Hey, Cousins.
is awesome.
So
What's
if
up?
like last year I made $50,000, and the 10 years prior I only made like $20,000, but then back in like 2005 I made $70,000. Okay, I'd say me making $50,000 last year is the most I've made since 2005 when I made $70,000. So when you're like, oh, well, the level of unemployment during the Great Depression was 24%, and during the pandemic it was only 14.8%. Okay, that's still the highest level of unemployment in America since the Great Depression. That claim is true. I don't understand what your counterposition is to that fact.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, we were in a global pandemic. I mean, it wasn't just America that was ravaged by this.
Right,
So to keep
right.
unemployment at
So how long have you been
14.8%,
listening?
I've been listening for a little while.
Okay, so then you heard me when I said that it was caused by the global pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so it looks like we agree.
Yeah, so I don't think that's like a bad thing for, Trump necessarily, because
So I'll repeat this for the third time to both the last guests and the guests before them that I used this point against. They claimed that whatever happens in the country is to blame on the president. If you assume that logic, then that 14.8% level of unemployment in April of 2020 is to blame on Trump. But I'm using that as a counter
yes and no.
argument against that logic. I'm not using that as a claim that I truly believe in. It's literally a claim that is supposed to point out the absurdity in the logic that leads to that conclusion.
I mean, it is a yes and no, though, because there are some policies that you can pass and things you can do as president that would affect, the market,
And
like Trump's doing
that's
right
why
now
I
with the
asked.
blanket tariff.
That's why I asked for you or anybody that makes the claim that Trump did great for the economy during his first term to tell me the policy he passed that did marvels for the economy. Yeah, the point is to have a discussion about the policy that was passed. All right, that's literally the point of the argument.
Yeah, so you don't think 14.8% is better than 24.9%, considering how our population grew?
Where did you get that from?
I'm just trying to go draw a consensus of where your head's at. Do you think 14.8%
where did you yield the conclusion that that's where my head's at?
I've been in your panel multiple times. Okay, I just want to know, is 14.9% better or
14.8% is better than 24%?
Yes, 100% it is.
Okay.
Especially considering, the amount that our population has grown.
Right.
And for those that don't believe me, you can also look this up on the fdrlibrary.org website.
I actually think that every single person in here believes you. I'm not going to lie. I don't think that you're stating anything controversial.
Well, I saw a couple people tag me asking for source, so I don't know if they're just trolling or they actually
what's the argument here? I'm still just confused. Do you have an argument here? I've yet to see.
I mean, I don't think Trump's bad for America. I mean, I think he's bad globally, but I wouldn't say necessarily for America.
I could give you one reason why he's bad for America.
All right, why?
He's a fascist, and fascism is bad for America.
Yeah, what are the telltale signs of fascism?
Well, I relate to the 14 descriptive tenets of fascism in the literature. Would you like to go through them?
And he meets all 14.
Yeah, he does. Okay.
Also, he's been taking a very authoritarian approach to the way that he's been ruling so far in multiple factors. So there's that.
Well, I love that you bring up the authoritarianship.
Yeah, but let's stay on the fascism. That was just a
no, because you brought it up, and I would like to point out.
No.
I would like to point
Stick
out
with
that
Dean,
your
and then we can talk about
because Joe
authoritarianism
Biden
after
installed a misinformation czar for the first time in U.S. history. The
last
time that we saw that was in World War II, and the Nazis
we understand that you want to actually pivot away from Trump. I get it. Stay
on
Trump.
I'm not
He's
really
the president.
pivoting. You brought up a point to try and think you were going to get one in on me when
that's
Biden was
cool. No. That's cool.
Well.
Again, we can talk about this after you go through the.
It's all right. You can go ahead and concede. Go ahead and be a good boy.
Yeah, or
be
whatever.
A good boy and let me indeed
anyway,
talk.
hey, how about you focus for a second?
How about you be a good boy and let me
address the 14 tenets of
let
fascism?
Me indeed talk.
Cousins, come on now, you're crashing. Don't be a clown. Engage. Don't worry. As soon as Dean finished dog walking you, I'll take you out for a walk myself. I promise.
Yo, it's by the way, it's a terrible look, like interrupting like you are, cousin. It just makes you look like you don't know what you're talking about and you're losing the debate. I just want to throw
Well,
that out
technically,
there.
he
And then
interrupted,
also,
our
no,
conversation.
I listened to you interrupt 5 times, and you cannot say that Santana interrupted our conversation when you then focused on what Santana was saying, and you said, "I want to talk to Santana." Thank you so
He
much.
actually shows all 14 of fascism. And he's actually an authoritarian.
So when you
And when I
spit
point
truth,
out
do you typically speak in higher
authoritarianship
voice?
in Biden,
So
absolutely.
when you spit truth, do you typically talk in a higher voice like that?
Yeah, I got my kid in my arms too. She making fun of you.
So I'm guessing that's supposed to be a nerd voice. Well, guess what? Nerds are nerds for a reason. It means that they're aligned with the facts.
What's
Okay,
funny
is
Hey,
this
though
guy
is
possible?
weren't
Hey.
you the guy, Dean, that was talking about,
It's the
making like a
deflection.
millionaire?
It's the deflection. He's literally
Everybody
running
come to my
now.
cyber school, make $1 million.
He's running. Oh my
Yeah,
I got $1
god.
million
100K
in
in
my
the
Louis Vuitton bag, bro.
100K in the lap, buddy. I'll wait for you to stop crashing. Are you okay? Like
This is
seriously?
this is like like when you have them like in a corner pinned down, they do any and everything to get away from it, and that's exactly
Ain't
what's
nobody
happening.
in the corner. Stop it.
Okay,
Stop
so
it.
would you like to engage with the 14 tenets of fascism?
Yeah, just real quick. Are you done? Let me know when you want to go back to the debate. You're crashing out.
You can go back to the debate. I'm listening.
Great. So first and foremost, you said that Biden was an authoritarian for appointing a disinformation czar. A disinformation czar is only authoritarian if the information that they call disinformation is actually not disinformation. Now, relating to the tenets of fascism, describing Trump as a fascist, we'll go one by one. We'll start with powerful and continuing nationalism. I feel like you should accept this one. He ran on it. Is that fair to say?
That Trump runs on nationalism, every president has, so yeah.
Right. However, there's a distinction between Donald Trump's powerful and continuing nationalism and the nationalism exerted by other politicians in candidacy for the presidency. Because Donald Trump's powerful and continuing nationalism includes distancing ourselves from every other country on earth and alienating undocumented migrants away from citizens, calling them criminals, calling them P3DOs, calling them violent gang members to scare the citizens into supporting his distortion of nationalism. And then he uses this distortion of nationalism to justify consolidation of power and anti-constitutional rhetoric. Now that you've agreed to point number 2, let's go into point number 1. We'll go into point number 2, disdain for human rights. Trump has a very obvious disdain for human rights. I'll give you an example. I believe that due process is a human right. Donald Trump doesn't want to give this human right to humans. In fact, he has gone as far as ignoring the Supreme Court's order to give this right to humans by not facilitating the return of Abrigo Garcia, as well as he's ignored the orders of federal judges and circuit courts insofar as his deportation of Venezuelan undocumented migrants alongside others. So this would fulfill the second tenet of fascism, being a disdain for human rights. Do you disagree?
I actually disagree with that because, you brought up, habeas corpus and that due process is a human right. You said you believe it is a human right. So
Yeah, sure.
is it a human right or is it not?
So when I say that I believe, it means that this is something that I find to be true.
Okay, so you find it to be true, but in our founding documents, is it? Or does habeas corpus say
Wait,
for
do you think
citizens of the United States?
Do you think that our founding documents, first of all, define what a human right is or isn't?
It grants us our rights to due process.
So you think that
all
it does?
citizens.
So I just want to clarify that you do think that our founding documents describe what is or is not a human right.
Yeah, is an illegal immigrant a
So I
citizen
want to
in the
clarify: if
United
you think
States?
that the Constitution defines what is or is not a
Don't
human
pivot.
right,
Don't pivot. Is an illegal immigrant?
I'm actually not pivoting
is
at all, sir.
illegal
You're the
immigrant-
one pivoting. I'm the one defending my
they-
proposition that.
are
One
they
second,
a citizen?
sir. You asked me to defend the proposition that due process is a human right. That is what I'm doing. I'm not pivoting. Feel free to bring up follow-up points after after I'm done defending this proposition. But let me finish defending the proposition. I'm not pivoting, man. You're the one that contested the proposition that due process is a human right. I'm the one defending that proposition. So once again, your contestment to this proposition of the fact that due process is a human right is the idea that you believe that all human rights are consequential of the founding document of the Constitution. Okay? Well, first and foremost, I'm just going to reject that premise outright, regardless if due process does apply to undocumented migrants, which it does, as ruled on by federal judges and circuit courts, as well as the Supreme Court in the late 19th century. But that's neither here nor there. If you do believe that the Constitution defines what is or is not a human right, does this mean during American slavery that you don't think that black individuals had human rights, meaning that when their human rights were violated, such as via enslavement or murder, that was not wrong, as it was not a rights violation.
At the time, it wasn't wrong. No.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, see, the thing is I'm able to get people to say the craziest shit ever because they love Trump so much that they're willing to throw out their reputation, willing to throw out any sense of credibility, and willing to turn themselves into a literal Nazi in order to defend this man.
Oh, so cousins, by your premise, as long as a law is in place, it's always just.
Right. Guess what? Holocaust wasn't wrong. Legal in Germany.
Yeah, 100%. And
was
Dean,
a
you're right.
Holocaust?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So now he thinks the Holocaust wasn't wrong. You're Leo Debates, right?
Yeah, I am Leo Debates.
Yeah. So everyone, if you're curious, this is Leo Debates. I think he does debate on the platform time to time. Whenever you see him, like feel free to like report his account, get him banned. I'm fine with that.
Y'all can try. I mean, it don't work.
I think it's fine to like get like Nazis banned. I don't find it.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a Nazi.
I would.
I would just say that I'm more so a realist.
Athena, you know this guy?
I'm more so a realist.
Yeah, weren't you the person who said? Weren't you the person who told me in a debate that if Hitler had finished the job, Palestinians wouldn't have been going through what they're going now?
Absolutely, 100%. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so this guy's
And
just
weren't
a
you the
piece of
same
shit.
person who sent me like a private message asking me if I was Jewish because I have curly hair?
Yes, 100%. I mean, I can tell you are. It's really not hard to tell.
This
is your average Trump supporter, by the way.
This makes so much more sense now. Listen, like when I understand who people are, then I can understand their position. So your position is shitty because you're a piece of shit. That makes perfect sense. I get it.
Hey, Leo, are you pro-life?
I am pro-life, 100%.
But abortion's not wrong in states that have pro-choice legislation, right?
I don't think we should be having any type of abortion.
Answer my question.
Repeat it?
But abortion's not wrong in states that have pro-choice legislation, right?
No, I think those need to be overturned.
So wait, so does that mean that not every law is just?
So let me get this straight. If slavery's legal, slavery's fine. If genocide's legal, genocide's fine. But if abortion's legal, abortion's not fine. So that's the thing. His hate for women trumps his love for Trump.
Well, I don't think so, Dean. I think what it is the feelings in his tum-tum actually guides what he believes. He has no actual standards or morals. He doesn't hold fast to anything. It's just whatever he's feeling in the moment, and he feels like the law should be overturned, so it no longer holds to the premise that all laws are just.
Yeah.
Also, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, total POS. The only reason I haven't kicked him yet is because both of you guys are up here, and if you think it's time to get rid of him, let me know.
Dean, do you have black fatigue yet?
What
is black fatigue?
What does black fatigue mean?
Yeah, so black fatigue is like where
this guy's a piece of shit.
The slavery.
Sorry, it's legal for me to mute you, so
kind of
must not be
failed.
wrong.
The slavery experiment kind of failed, and y'all should go back to your own country. Everybody's kind of tired.
That's not what black fatigue
your own
means,
communities are.
It's not. He was just looking for the additional racism that he could
lean into. That's not what black fatigue means.
It absolutely is, 100%.
Hey, can you be smart and a bigot? Like, can you pick a struggle? Because how are you a dumb bigot?
Yeah, also, be a better
'Cause that's
father.
not what
Your
black
baby's
fatigue
yelling
means.
at you.
Yeah, even your baby thinks you're
Dean,
wrong.
not hey, Santana, I'm gonna make this.
Hey, no one cares, cousins.
Dean,
yeah. Can you hear me by the
Santana,
way?
bring up I'm gonna swat you.
Oh, okay. Not being uncivilized right now, right? Black fatigue literally, huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just gonna say like he's just starting to like freak out, like tell you guys to go back to your countries and say that he's gonna like swat me because like we're not giving him the reaction that he wants. That's all. So
what black fatigue literally means is that is the exhaustion that is felt by black people when being subjected to systemic racism and racial violence. That's what black fatigue means. It doesn't mean that being black makes you exhausted, but instead living within a society that continues to devalue blackness and continue to subject you to systemic violence. because of blackness. That is what black fatigue means. Whatever you explained right there was not black fatigue, but I'm not surprised when it's coming from a dumb bigot.
Yeah, Athena, Santana, you guys have anything else that you want to go over with a guest?
Yeah, hail Hitler.
Thank you, Dean. I just came up here to tell you that this guy was a flat out neo-Yahtzee, but I appreciate you. I'm glad you're back.
Athena,
Hey,
Bye.
Athena.
I appreciate you for coming up, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day. All right, we're gonna go to
I'm gonna
move
get
on.
out of here as well, bro. I got a little more work to do, so I'll be listening.
Cool. I appreciate you so much for coming up, Santana. It's good seeing you, man, and I hope you have a good rest
Thanks
of your
for
day as
letting me.
well. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
yes.
If you're MAGA, let me know in that chat. We'll bring you up, everyone. We'll bring you up, guys. Let's gonna get that next guest up in the live literally right now. That was insane. Yeah, that was obviously fucking insane. Let's go ahead and get that next guest up here. What is going on, Dak? Do you support Trump? All right, Dak Trump, guys, go ahead and drop a MAGA down below in that chat if you would like to come up. Ashley, thank you for the $5 super chat over on YouTube. Dragon with a 20 DKK. Silk with the 5 New Zealand dollars. Nathan with a 5. Sliding Ace with a 5. And Mars with the $10 over on YouTube super chat saying, hey, Dean, thanks for trying to educate these Trump minions. Yeah, you know, that guy, not only was he big and not only was he unintelligent, but he also lacked a backbone because earlier in the debate I called him a Nazi and he's like, I'm not a Nazi. But then he went on to say HH, you know, man, like, dude, like on top of it all, like on top of it all is just like lacking a total spine. What's going on, Kev? Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, how old are you?
I am 21. I just
You're
turned 21. about a week
21,
ago.
phenomenal. Well, let's hop into our conversation. But before we do, I got to thank Connor for the $10 over on Venmo saying, good to see you, my guy. Connor, it's good to see you as well, man. Hope that you're doing well. W. Connor, base Connor, the only base Connor I know. Lisa, thank you for the $20 over on Venmo. Thank you so much, Lisa. Let's get 200 Lisa W's in that chat right now. As well as Camila with a 5, Isis with a 10, Camila with another 10, and then Izzy with a 4, Samantha with a 10 cents and with a 5 as well as Michael with the $20 over on PayPal. Everybody show some love to Michael down below in that chat. Michael says, loving the content. Keep it up, Michael. Thank you so much for the love. As well as Ailey with the 10 as well. Take it away. Tell us why you support the current admin.
Where do I begin? Oh, thank you, Jeremy, for the birthday wish. I don't know. I just don't like everything got screwed up when Biden, was in office. And I mean, I know you hear that a lot. I know you're gonna question.
What's one bad domestic policy Biden passed that really screwed things up, sir?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, then how do you know he screwed things up?
I don't know.
Oh, you have no clue. Okay. So in other words, you support Trump and you don't really know why.
I just support Trump just because I like him.
Okay. And why do you like him? Let's see if you know that.
I like his hair.
Okay. So if he was bald,
He,
you wouldn't
he
vote
plays
for him.
yeah, hold on. He plays a nice golf game. I can't lie.
All right. Well, it looks like Kev has been reduced down to hair and golf. His hair's fake, and the golf costs American taxpayers a couple $1 million every year. So moving on to the next guest, everyone. Give us a minute. If you're in that queue, make sure that you support the current admin, that you're at least 18 years old, y'all. We are just looking for some debates. Also, make sure that we're double tapping away in that phone screen. Let's try to get up to 1 million likes, y'all. What's up, Dylan? How old are you?
I'm 23, brother man.
23, and do you support Jump?
Do I? There's a bear shit in the woods?
Yes, a bear shits in the woods.
Damn right.
Damn right, Dylan. So tell us why you support Trump.
I like Trump, just because, he's from my hometown. He's got a golf course in the hometown. He feeds the families. He gave us a little check. He got us right. You can't hate the man. What
So
Biden do for
he
us?
feeds families. His tax policy is actually making it harder for families to feed themselves. In fact,
He's taking money from the
according to
rich.
the Institution of Economics and Taxation, he's taking money from the poor and giving it to the rich. Every American with an
Hey,
income.
well, I'm rich, so it's fuck the poor. I don't give a fuck. I'm rich.
I actually just don't think that's true.
All right. I mean, you don't gotta believe me.
How much money do you make?
Why would I tell you that?
You just told us that you were rich. It
Then
implies that
that's-
you want to boast your income. So do
That's
it.
it.
Boast your income. What's your annual income?
Listen, I got daddy's money. All right. Is that good enough for you?
Okay, it's a troll. Moving on. Looks like we got trolls and Nazis today. Let's go ahead and get the next guest up here. No more trolls or Nazis, preferably. Hello, Austin. How old are you?
Hello, I'm 19.
Nice. And do you support Trump?
Yes, I do support Trump.
And why is that?
I just have one question about what are your views on Trump's immigration policies?
Yeah, I think that his immigration policy sucks. It's terrible. It is very bad for multiple reasons, for so many reasons.
So you support all illegal just coming into our country illegally.
Where do you get
Is that what you're
from?
saying?
Where did you
Could
get that
you?
from?
I'm sorry, I couldn't. What were you saying before? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said that I think his immigration policy sucks. And then I guess so it's either you like Donald Trump's immigration policy or you think that we should have totally and complete open borders. Is that like the dichotomy?
Yeah, I mean, I really like his immigration policies. I mean,
You can't even like
people that enter our country
you can't
illegally.
even understand the question I just asked you. Like, once again, the question is, I told you that I didn't like any left. Okay. Bye, Austin. Moving on to the next guest. Go ahead and drop a magnet down below in that chat if you want to come up and have a conversation. Moving on to the next guest. We got Taylor loading into the box. Here we go, everybody. What an interesting day we're having here. By the way, if you're watching the stream and you like this stream and you'd like to support the stream, you can find my Venmo and my PayPal in the link tree in my bio over here on TikTok and in the pinned message on the YouTube stream. I get 100% of those proceeds. They'll go straight to me. And they keep the stream running for 4 hours a day. What's going on, Taylor? Do you support Trump or do you MAGA?
I am not 100% sure. I don't support anybody. I like a few of his policies. But I don't understand why people are so mad about people being deported when there has been multiple presidents beforehand to do this and put us first.
That's the thing, Taylor. Let's go over a couple bases here. So first of all, presidents before Trump that have done a lot of deportations, like Biden or Obama. First of all, my views on immigration are a little bit further left-leaning than the Democrat Party. So I actually critique both Biden and Obama. But the difference between them and Trump is they disproportionately focused on individuals that had committed prior violent offenses, and they gave the undocumented migrants their constitutional rights. Trump, on the other hand, is not focusing on violent offenders. He's focusing on all undocumented migrants and even citizens, for that matter, deporting them without due process, violating their constitutional rights, ignoring federal judges that say otherwise, or arresting federal judges that say otherwise, ignoring the Supreme Court who said otherwise. I think that's something that any true patriot should get mad about.
Okay, I just had a question about that because I don't lean left or right. I don't think anybody's ever going to like a president we ever have fully. I mean, that's the point of free will. That's the point of being able to choose your own mind. Nobody in 100% of the United States is never going to like one person. So I just had a question about how he does it different from other people, but I appreciate that.
Do you mind if I ask you what other policies you agree with him on?
Getting rid of DEI a little bit. Because
what DEI has he gotten rid of?
Not getting rid of it, but trying to make it more lenient to where it's not. I'm only 18, so I don't know everything that's going on. That's why I come and ask.
Can I ask you a question?
A few questions.
Do you support traditionalism, like the traditional family structure of man that goes out and works, woman who stays at home, cooks and cleans, takes care of the children?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I do like working for Boeing. I do work for our nice Boeing company.
Okay. Well, I guess the reason I asked you that question is because it's funny because the misconceptions that Republicans hold against DEI are actually true of like this traditional nuclear family structure where the man goes out and works and then the woman stays at home. I mean, that is literally saying because of your gender, you should go have this job. And because you have another gender, you shouldn't have this job, which is like the misconceptions of DEI that the right hates so much, but then it's upheld within traditionalism. So I find that quite contradictory. But DEI actually protects a merit-based society, by the way, because it just basically ensures that individuals are, at least in the workforce, aren't like rejected a job opportunity because of their race, because of their gender, because of their ethnicity.
I see that a lot. I see that a lot for where I work. It's sad. It's all white
That's why
people
DEI
here.
is a good thing. That's why DEI is a great thing.
Thank you for explaining that.
Sure. Anything else that you support him on?
No, that was really it, and I am probably not anymore. So
yeah, but just keep in mind, like you said, that in your workforce, that you recognize that it's like a disproportionately like individuals are white in this workforce, and you recognize that like that's likely because of discrimination within the hiring processes. So DEI fights that and protects against that, and it's funny because it's likely that like you yourself have been protected via like sentiments of DEI, and this isn't to say that that's a bad thing. In fact, it's supposed to demonstrate a good thing.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. That's all I had questions about because between you and Charlie Kirk, I do get confused for both. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course, have a good rest of your day, Taylor. What is going on, Gav? Are you MAGA?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, are you MAGA?
I mean, like a little bit, but not really. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but
All right, man. We are just looking for people that are. I don't know if you come out if you come out of the gate swinging, saying that you're not MAGA. Like, I'm just gonna assume that, like, probably not here for a debate. What's going on, Jake? Are you MAGA?
Yo, what's good?
Oh, Jake, I'd love to talk to you, man. I gotta kick you because you're driving. Feel free to re-request when you're not driving, and I'll get you on the stream, man. I would love to talk to a Trump supporter. If that's you, let me know. We'll get you on the stream. Hello, Brian. Do you support the current administration?
Sure.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an American patriot?
Hello.
Do you consider yourself an American patriot, Brian?
I just wanted to ask what you did for a living. You're on this shit all the fucking time, dude. Get a fucking life.
This is what I do for a living, Brian. I have a prediction. I think that you're going to leave. And my prediction proved right as I stated it. Look at that. I'm always right. I'm never wrong. How is that trend so true? Brian, how did I call that you were going to leave, like, before you left? I just know. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Brian, dude, come on. You're still down in the chat. Come back up here. Try again. By the way, I just invited Brian. Right now on Brian's screen, there's a big pop-up box that says Dina's invited you to join the live. Then you click a button to accept the invitation, or you click a button to deny the invitation. I hope Brian's not beta and runs away. Brian, why did you run away?
Because I'm beta.
So stop being beta.
Beta.
Okay, if you're going to make a claim, stand 10 toes down. Okay, you asked me what
I didn't make a claim.
Yeah, you did. You said
that I'm beta?
I guess you implied that. You asked me what I did for a living. This is what I do for a living, Brian.
That sucks, dude.
Why?
Because this isn't a job.
What's a job, Brian? I feel like you're going to leave.
Working.
Okay, what's work? Not this?
No.
So what is it?
This is something you do at the bar with your buddies after work.
Actually, I don't think that you'd go live streaming on TikTok doing debates at a bar with friends, but that's neither here nor there. Tell me what work is.
Sucking dick.
Okay. He left again. Moving on to the next guest. Okay. Dude, the guests today have been interesting. That's for sure. That's undeniable. Hello, what is your name?
Hello. Hey, this is Kebbul. Fuck you, stupid nigger.
Oh, and they come up here.
Yeah,
and
nigger,
say
nigger,
the
nigger,
N-word
nigger.
on his girlfriend's account.
Nigger, don't fuck.
Sorry, he's kicked everybody. We're going to move on to the next guest on his girlfriend's account. So, like, not only is he racist, but he's completely belligerent of the safety of those that he loves.
Hey, I just have some questions, actually.
Are you MAGA?
I'm in between, I guess. It's kind of weird.
Okay, Francis. Well, at this point, just because I feel like it's been a while since we've had a Trump supporter, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, the last person that I thought was a Trump supporter just ended up being a Nazi. We are gonna move on to the next guest. But hop back in the queue. You know, once we kind of get some debates under the belt, I'd love to have you up, and maybe I'll be able to answer your questions just by you listening to debates with others. What's up, James? Are you MAGA?
Yeah.
Okay, how old are you?
20.
20. All right, phenomenal. And why are you MAGA?
Because I believe Trump did the best for America.
Okay. What did he do specifically that was the best?
He makes America great again.
How?
By loving people of America.
By loving Americans?
Yeah.
He doesn't love Americans. He actually, like, frequently puts out statements about how much he hates, like, over half of Americans.
Actually, because they're not American.
So liberals
They're
aren't
terrorists.
American?
The black, if I'm not mistaken.
What did you
They're
just say?
Africans.
Sir, James, I have a
They
question.
will-
I have a question. What time is it? What time is it?
What time is it? Sacramento.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that he's not from America. So he just, like, came up here to be racist. He just like came up here to be racist. This is his whole thing. He just came up here to be racist.
Hello?
Oh man. Yeah, I love
Yo,
Saturday 9 o'clock. Me too. What's up, Ryan? Are you MAGA?
Yeah, I just had a quick question.
How old are you?
19.
19. And what time is it?
5:28.
28. Phenomenal. So take it away.
I just are you gonna talk to Destiny about the whole like Z drama or no?
I'd say like arguably like right now, unlikely that I'd have a conversation with him on live. So why do you support Trump?
Oh no, I just wanted to ask the question.
Ah man, why did you Trojan horse me? It's not nice.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Moving on to the next guest, everyone. I will say, yeah, it's like unlikely that I'll have a conversation with him on live. But like, I'm down to like hear what he has to say, although I like disagree with it. But I feel like I could do that without like conversing with him on a live stream. You know what I mean? We're gonna move on to the next guest, everyone. Let's gonna get the next guest, Giovanni, up in the live, y'all. What's going on, Giovanni? How old are you?
25.
25, and do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick, before I hop into our debate, I gotta thank Beth for the $100 donation over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Beth. I want to see 1,000 Beth W's down below in that chat. That is incredibly kind of you. That is incredibly kind of you. Everybody, please show some love to Beth down below, literally right now, y'all. Beth says, for the non-job job, you educate people all day long. This is a job. Dude, that is incredibly kind of you. If everybody could please spam 1,000 W Beths down below for the incredible kindness. That is so incredibly kind of you, Beth. I do not deserve that at all. W Beths, thank you so much. As well, Samantha, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Evie with a 3. And then, yeah. Anyways, take it away. Giovanni, why do you support Trump?
That was so fake. Oh my God.
What was fake specifically? I'm confused.
Your voice.
My voice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I feel like you're going to have a really hard time convincing the crowd that I didn't get happy when somebody random gave me their money. Just saying.
No.
Just saying. Like, there's a lot of angles that you could take on me here to try to come to the conclusion that Dean is a fake grifter. I feel like that's possibly the worst fucking one. You know what? I am incredibly fucking happy and thankful for Beth, as well as everybody else that has donated to me.
Nice.
And in fact, I'd argue if people supporting you and donating their hard-earned money to you because they like what you do doesn't make you happy, that's like incredibly atypical.
Right.
Ashlyn, thank you for the $5 on Venmo saying that I'm a ray of sunshine. I appreciate you for the love, Ashlyn. As well as Ken with the $50 donation over on Venmo. 1 second, Giovanni. I gotta finish thanking Ken. Ken, thank you for the $50 donation on Venmo. Let's get 500 Ken W's down below. Ken says, keep it a real Dean. Ken, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. Shout out Ken down below in that chat. Shout out Beth as well. Thank you guys so incredibly much. Beth and Ken.
Why don't you go do what Charlie Kirk does in person?
Well, I did. For a weekend, at least.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. You just followed Charlie Kirk. You didn't do what he does. Go on your own and go talk to people like he does.
I did. I spent over.
You just followed him.
Giovanni, were you there?
You just followed him.
Were you there?
Am I wrong? Did you not follow him?
Yes, you are wrong because you weren't there. And if you were there, you would know that although I spent 2 hours trying to get Charlie the runner to debate me, the other 6 hours on campus were spent talking to students halfway across the campus. So thank you so much. Maybe before you speak, you should try to educate yourself.
Right. Yeah. You were talking to people.
Yeah, right. As if there wasn't I don't know, a couple hundred people there recording it alongside our own film crew. And you could even see clips of it posted on Parker's page. Yeah, right. Thank you so much, Giovanni. It's incredibly kind of you to kind of admit to all of us that you were wrong. Thank you so much, Giovanni. I appreciate the kindness.
Who else was there?
Well, Shani just donated me $10 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love,
Shani. You don't want to answer the question. You don't answer the question. Who else?
You didn't respond to what I just said.
Who else talked to all those? Who else was there when you talked to all those people?
There was a lot of individuals that talked to those people.
No, you're still dodging the question. Who else was there when you talked to all those people?
Are you asking about like the roster of the individuals on the trip associated with the first stop of the UFA or like Charlie?
No, I'm talking about how you got an entire group of people to follow Charlie Kirk around, and then it ended up being a disaster, and you guys turned on each other and got into a fight.
So the UFA definitely did end up being a disaster. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it did, because you guys are a joke. That's why. Because you guys are a joke.
If I'm a joke, beat this joke in a debate. Show me what you got. Why is Trump a good president?
That's why it was. No shit, it was a disaster, because you have you and Parker on the screen.
Hey, Giovanni, I have an idea.
I'm speaking.
No, you're listening. Breathe for
No,
5 seconds.
No, I'm talking. No shit, it was a
You're
joke.
actually not talking.
Yes,
Listen,
I am. I'm talking right now.
if I'm a joke, I want you to beat this joke in a debate. See, all like the deprecating jokes, or sorry, the deprecating statements that people make about me. Oh, Dean's a joke. Oh, Dean's uneducated.
Yes.
Oh, Dean's this. Oh, Dean's that. It just ends up making yourself look worse when you get like just fucking destroyed in a debate. So do it. Let's have a conversation.
Okay.
Why do you support the Trump administration? I have a feeling like you're not going to debate me because you're scared. Just like Charlie, by the way.
Like Phineas and Ferb. Okay, Phineas. What was I going to say? So you're not going to talk about the fact that you guys all followed Charlie Kirk?
I mean, seemingly we have been talking about that fact for the last 10 minutes.
Why
You're not
don't-
going to debate me because you're scared?
Why don't you go and do what Charlie Kirk does? Why don't you go and do what he does?
I think that's a good idea. I think I will. Anyways,
Yeah,
why do you support Trump?
good. Okay, so what are you planning on doing to go do what Charlie Kirk does?
Why do I need to tell you?
What do you mean? Because you don't have a plan.
I do. I don't think I have to share what
No,
you
you don't. No, you don't. Go out in person and do it then, besides sitting behind a screen. Go out in person.
That's that's a part of the plan. So anyways, why do you support Trump?
It really seems like you're killing that plan, dude.
Well, it hasn't
Seems like
happened
you
yet.
got it.
So I don't think that any of us can make a judgment of how well I'm killing or not killing that plan because it hasn't
It
happened.
hasn't happened. It hasn't happened yet because you're scared. That's why it hasn't happened yet, because you won't go out and actually debate people.
What am I scared of?
You sit behind a microphone and mute people all day and yell at people on TikTok.
Oh, okay. Well, I
You
mean,
won't ever-
I would
you
like
won't
to
ever be
clarify.
as successful as Charlie
Hey,
Kirk.
Giovanni, the reason I'm successful at all today is because I sat down in person with 20 random Trump supporters on Jubilee and then got 15 million views. I'd pipe down.
Nice. That's go out in person and do it then. Go do what Charlie
That was
Kirk.
it. That was in person. It was me debating 20 random Trump supporters in person.
Go create another type of Turning Point USA and see how you do.
That's
Go
a
ahead.
long-term goal. All right, I appreciate
Go
you
ahead.
for your insight, Giovanni. So, do you want to tell us why you support Trump? Or are you still scared to have?
It's a long-term goal.
So, are you still scared to tell us why you support Trump?
Let me ask you something. Why
Hey,
did you
can everybody in the chat tell Giovanni that he's objectively just looks like shit right now? Like even the Trump supporters, tell Giovanni that he looks like shit because he won't tell us why Trump's a good president. Like
Why
if
did
I was so
Biden-
bad at debating, how come you won't debate me?
Why did Biden drop out of the race?
Why did Biden drop out of the race? Because of unpopularity as a result, not only as a false sense of association of the outcomes of the pandemic with his presidency, but also of his debate with Trump. Now, why do you support Trump?
You had that answer so ready. Yeah,
because I'm good at what I do. So tell us why you support Trump.
Yeah, you're good at what you do. You supported a guy that couldn't even walk up a flight of stairs.
And you support a fascist, rapist, lunatic with 34 felony convictions that is actively redistributing wealth from the poor to the rich. What else is new, Giovanni? Tell me. Why do you support him?
That's your current president right now, and there's nothing you can do. That's who it is.
Well, the one thing I can do is try to have conversations with people like you, but typically people like you are very scared to have a conversation with me. And if you weren't scared to have a conversation with me, you'd debate me. But obviously, you're not interested in doing that. And that's evidently clear to the 7,000 people watching over on TikTok, as well as the 2,000 people watching over on YouTube.
Kamala 2024, baby.
So can you give us one reason why Trump is a good president?
Kamala Harris. Did Kamala Harris win a single swing state?
No, I think she lost him. So why do you support Trump?
Yeah, she lost every swing state.
So why do you think that Trump is a
She
better
lost
option?
every swing state. You guys are going to be
sure she
crying
did.
the next 4 years on TikTok.
I mean, objectively, I think you're more emotional than I am right now.
That's fine. You can think what you think. You guys are up here crying on TikTok. You guys get this the next 4 years. Let me ask you something. If they didn't gift you all these gifts, what money would you have?
I appreciate you so much for the maker.
You're relying on these people. You're relying on these people.
You seem really upset by the people that donate to me. Speaking of, Andrea, thank you for the $10 donation over on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love, Andrea. Grammy with a $25 donation over on Venmo on behalf of Giovanni. Thank you for the love, Grammy. Everybody, please show some love to Grammy and Andrea down below in that chat. I'd also like to thank Colin for the $10 over on Venmo. Shani with the $10 over on Venmo. ADA with the $10 over on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, ADA. Everybody, show some love to Shani, show some love to Colin, show some love to Grammy, show some love to Andrea, and show some love to ADA down below in that chat. I really appreciate you guys for allowing me to rely on you. Thank you so much for the donations. Show some love. W donors down below in that chat. I really appreciate it so much, so much, so much. Quite frankly, that's the truth. Thank you all so much. Once again, thank you.
Thank you to Dean's barber as well for that great haircut.
Well, I need to go to the barber.
Round of applause, everyone, for Dean's haircut. Look at that. Look at that beautiful haircut right there. Look at that. I mean, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Just out of curiosity, how much do you weigh, Dean? Like 100 pounds? I know you talk about going to the gym all the time on here. What do you do at the gym? Just walk around? with headphones on with a microphone. What do you do at the gym? Doesn't look like it's working for you, buddy.
Let me ask you a question about the gym. How much does a typical barbell weigh?
Say that again.
How much does a typical barbell weigh?
It's 45 pounds, my guy.
You're right. So tell us why you support Trump.
I am right. What was the point of that question?
I wanted to see if you knew anything about the gym.
Nice. How many plates do you put on each side when you do a bench?
I think like 185 for like a typical like set of like 5 for 5. But anyways, why do you support Trump?
Nice, dude. You're really hitting the gym hard, huh?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Anyways,
Yeah,
why do you
dude.
support Trump?
So how much do you weigh? Like 120 pounds?
145.
Oh, wow, dude. You got to bulk up. That's light, my guy.
Yeah, it is pretty light. I acknowledge.
Yeah.
So why do you support Trump?
Yeah. Like I feel like if someone blew on you, you fly away.
I mean, I don't think that you could blow on somebody that's 145 pounds in the
Yeah.
family, but I get the point of the
I
joke.
feel like you fly away. How do you not fly away? You're in front of fan at the gym.
Well, because I don't think that you can fly away if you're 145
Oh,
pounds.
nice.
So I'm just waiting for him to like run out of gas at this point.
Where'd you get your hairstyle from? I really like it.
I appreciate you for that. Why do you support Trump?
Yeah. What do you do to get a haircut? They put a bowl on your head and that you just tell them, hey, just cut around the bowl?
No, that's not what they do. So why do you support Trump?
Oh, what do they do? What do they do?
I mean, they cut it like any typical barber would cut
Oh,
somebody's hair.
really?
So
They
why do you
cut
support
it?
Trump?
They do a pretty shitty job, my guy.
1 second. Dan, I appreciate you for the $30 over on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love, Dan. Let's get 300 Dan W's down below in the comment section, literally right now. Thank you so much for the love, Dan. As well as Amy, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Aslan with the $5 on Venmo. Andre with the 10 as well. Thank you but so much, everybody. Please show some love to Dan down below, literally right now. Thank you so much for the love, Dan. I would also like to thank Susan for the $50 donation over on PayPal. Everybody, let's get 500 Susan W's down below, saying to keep up the great work. Thank you so much for the love, Susan. Thank you so much. Linda, thank you for the $20 as well. But seriously, Susan and Linda, thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate it. And Giovanni, I want to make this clear. The reason why I've been letting you rag all over me is because I know if I didn't, you take it out on your mom later. You live in her basement. You got pent up rage and anger because you see me on live every single day, disputing and discrediting every single thing that you believe to be true. And essentially the response is, Dean's hair kind of looks lame. Therefore, he's wrong. I'm sorry. At least I'm not a fucking involuntary celibate piece of shit living in my mother's basement at the ripe age of 34 with a receding hairline since the 1800s. But that's neither here nor there because you won't turn on your camera because you'd rather talk to me behind an anonymous phone screen to shield and protect your identity. But listen, man, Giovanni, here's what I'm willing to do with you. I'm willing to come to terms, agree to set all of that behind us, and hear from you why you support the Trump administration. But I'd make this clear to the chat. He won't tell us why he supports Trump. For the 7.5 thousand people listening on TikTok, none of you will hear a single reason why Donald Trump is a good president. None of you will hear a debate between me and Giovanni. The reason why none of you will hear a debate between me and Giovanni is because Giovanni can't debate. The same emotions he's directing at me when he tries to insult me are the emotions he uses to build his political beliefs.
You're going to keep.
So now let's prove that right with one simple question. Mr. Giovanni, why do you think Trump is a good president? Tell us about his policy. Tell us about what he's doing and explain to me why you think it's a good thing.
So you think I live in my mom's basement? Didn't you live at your brother's house and he kicked you out? How are you going to come at me and tell me where I live? You've done lives. You flexed doing lives in a basement with a space heater and cut your hand on fucking glass doing the push-up, my guy. How are you going to tell me I live in my mother's basement? Where are you staying right now, just out of curiosity?
You live in your mother's basement because no one can stand to be around you for more than 5 minutes. I did lives out of a basement because I have respect for my grandparents, and when I was living with them for a couple months, I didn't want to have them hear me flaming, grilling people like you all day. But keep in mind, you're only proving me right. With every word that comes out of your mouth that is not a word to justify that Trump is a good president, you're only proving me right. I want to make that clear. When I unmute you, you're going to go back to saying something that isn't why you think Trump is a good president. And when you do that, the whole chat's going to laugh at you. In fact, let's do that right now. My biggest fan, let me know if you would like some signed merch. I will send it to you for free. when I meet this guy and he goes back to talking about how he's an incel that hates life, everybody laugh at him. Okay? But like, don't laugh at him if he starts to have a debate with us about why he supports Trump. Let's see what he does. Go ahead.
So you just admitted you live with your grandparents? How old were you?
Okay, now everyone start to laugh at
How
Giovanni.
How old were you?
Look at this
How
guy.
old were
He
you when
can't
you
even
lived with your
debate me.
grandparents? You lived with your grandparents.
Wait, let's try again. Everyone start laughing at Giovanni. How does it feel to know that there's like 9,000 people laughing at you right now? I mean, it's the same like lack of social awareness that's probably driven every woman in your life away. So I doubt he cares. Try again. Why do you support Trump?
I'm gay. I don't like women. I'm gay.
Okay,
Who said
so then that same lack of social awareness that's driven every man away in your life, Giovanni. Let me rephrase. Now, tell us why you support Trump.
Wait, so you said there's 9,000 people on this?
Yep.
Oh, you just told 9,000 people you live with your grandparents?
I've told over 9,000 people that I lived with my grandparents.
How old were you when you lived with your grandparents? Answer the question, Dean.
Yeah, I was 19. I lived
That's
with
a
him
sick
for 3
life,
months
dude.
while I was
Yeah,
getting a lease on an apartment.
Yeah.
So why do you
Oh,
support
nice,
Trump?
dude. You live with your
I'm
grandparents,
still
dude.
trying,
That's
Giovanni.
nice.
I'm still really trying
That's
with you.
nice. That's nice.
Well,
dude.
will you
live with your
address,
grandparents.
Giovanni? Will you address the allegation of why you won't debate me on why you support Trump? Will you? I'm being serious.
How was it at your grandparents'
I'm sorry, man. Address the allegation on why you won't debate me about why you support Trump. Is it because you're scared? That's what the people are saying. Address the allegation, sir.
How was your grandparents?
No, after you address the allegation, I'll tell you how it was. Address the allegation.
How
You're
was your
dodging.
grandparents, though?
I'll
How was your
answer
grandparents?
after you address the allegation.
How
You're
was your
scared.
grandparents?
Everybody, Giovanni is scared. Giovanni, now you got to address the new allegation. Why are you scared to address the allegation that you won't debate me on why you support Trump? Because you're scared. You're so terrified. He has his hands in his ears going, la, 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 boo, boo. I'm not going to listen to anything that comes out of Dean's mouth because if I do and I respond to it, I'll look like shit. Is that true, Giovanni?
I'm scared of the 140-pound man with the bowl cut.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You debate me on why you support Trump. Giovanni, that is the first thing that you've said so far in this stream that has been objectively true. Yes, you are objectively scared of the 145-pound man with a bold cut. Abso-fucking-lutely. So tell us why.
How was the grandparents, my guy?
I told you. I'll tell you why as soon as you tell me why you won't debate me on why you support Trump.
How was the grandparents, my guy?
Giovanni, what did I say last time you asked that?
Because you can walk up a flight of stairs.
What did I say last time you asked that question? I said I'll answer your question once you tell us why you're scared to debate the 145-pound man with a ball cut, insofar as bull cut, insofar as why you support the president.
Show us the bald spot on the back of your head. I know you got one.
Okay, I'll show you my bald spot if you tell me why you won't debate me on why you support Trump. I will tell you. I will show you. I'll show you.
Because he can speak on like the last one. He can walk up a flight of stairs.
Okay, so I want to get this straight, that you support Trump because he can speak. Did you know most of the time he speaks, he lies? During his first presidency, he told over 30,000 confirmed lies, and also telling the biggest lie that any president of this country has told with his denial of the outcome of the 2020 election. Not to mention, most recently when he's been speaking, it's been saying shit like, oh, he doesn't know if he has to uphold the Constitution. He doesn't want to give undocumented migrants their right to due process, even though federal judges, circuit courts, as well as the Supreme Court have told him that his deportations are illegal.
You want to?
Anyways, that is why you won't debate me on Trump. You literally say one sentence and you're fucking deep fried. That's right. That's right. Keep on being gross. Go back to talking about how I have a bald spot, Giovanni. No, I'm telling you, go back to talk. No, to Giovanni, for your own good. Go back to talking about my bald spot. Go back to talking about my brother. Go back to talking to me about my grandparents. You are not qualified to have a discussion on politics with me. I'm trying to help you out here, man. Go back to the disses. The politics, the conversations about the Trump administration, it's not for you. Go back to the insults. I'm being serious.
So you can talk about how Trump lies. You know what the difference is, though? You still understood what he was saying.
I don't know. I didn't understand what he was saying.
Understood what he was saying.
Actually, I don't. I don't understand what Donald Trump is saying when he's talking about sharks and batteries, rambling for 45 minutes, or when he loses the debate to Kamala Harris so badly because he can't speak, saying shit like she's a communist, but then saying that she's stolen policy from him, so she deserves a red hat. I didn't understand that either. I didn't understand what he meant when he said he won the 2020 election and Biden rigged it, and then he admitted to trying to rig it himself to the Supreme Court and in two indictments in Congress. I didn't understand any of those things. And I think he knows that he didn't even understand what he was saying. And that's why he accused Kamala Harris after his debate with her of wearing an earpiece and getting input from her team, even though she was wearing an earring from Tiffany & Co. I'm telling you, Giovanni, you're going to get cooked. The more you talk about politics, you're done, bud. Go back to the insults about me.
I didn't realize Trump was vice president. I didn't realize Trump was VP.
The presidential debates, not the vice presidential debates. I'm telling you, bro,
but
politics
you
aren't
didn't
for
even
you.
get the question. You didn't even get what I just said. Joe Biden called him Vice President Trump. You fucking idiot. You didn't even get what I just said.
Yeah, what's worse, Biden calling Trump a vice president, or like, I don't know, Donald Trump calling to or telling an ABC reporter that he doesn't know if he has to uphold the Constitution? Go back to the insults, Giovanni. Politics aren't for you, bud.
So did he not call him Vice President Trump?
Yeah, he did.
What
I'll take the old guy that's a little bit coherent with a policy that genuinely benefits Americans over the old guy that is completely delusional. Had an ex-advisor report that he can't distinguish between what's true and false, that tried to coup our country, rigged the outcome of a federal election, and is actively deploying fascism in America today.
Are you vaccinated?
Oh, there we go. Moving away from the politics. This is more.
Are you vaccinated?
This is more your style, man. You can't keep up with politics. I get it.
Are you vaccinated?
I don't know. I'll answer your question if you finish debating me in politics, but right now you're pivoting. Are you scared?
How am I pivoting? Are you vaccinated?
Yeah, the pivot is you want to ask me about if I'm
Why are you
vaccinated
wearing-
after engaging in
Why are you wearing a
a
mask?
political debate with me, specifically about the president.
That's not a debate, my guy. When you mute the person,
It's not a debate when you have when you have an IQ lower than that of my family dog. It's not a debate when you have an IQ lower than my family dog, sir. I understand. That's why you should stick to the insults, sir.
Your
but even the
grandparents'
insults
dog
were
or your
lacking.
brothers? Your
Both.
grandparents' dog or your brothers? Which dog?
Both, quite
Oh,
frankly.
both?
Both.
Oh, both. Did your grandparents have a dog?
What do you like to know, Weatherman? We're going to move on to the next guest. We got Giovanni out of here. It's funny, bro. They come up here because they're so pissed, and then they just end up looking like shit and getting
I
cooked.
was hoping you was gonna let me up here with him, bro. I'm not a Trump hater or a Trump lover, man. I was hoping you was gonna let me up with him, though. He a clown, bro. He just wasted all your time.
Dude, I appreciate you for coming up, Trendy. Thank you so much, man. I hope you have a good rest of the day. Yeah, he was wasting some time, but you know, I wanted to exhaust him. I don't know. I kind of just wanted to demonstrate that half the country hates me because I know why they're wrong. And a lot of these people will come out a lot like Giovanni comes out, sticking to the insults. But I can make them look like shit too. Regardless if you're debating me or not, guess what? It won't end up good for you. I would like to thank Amy for the $10 over on Venmo, saying this guest is so jealous of you with a stupid laugh. The most jealous, quite frankly. Silius with a $10 saying cry more fun. He sure was crying. And then Annika with a $20 saying kick Giovanni, you're awesome. We got rid of Giovanni, Annika. Everybody show some love to Annika down below in that chat. And then Danny with a $25 calling Giovanni a loser. Damn straight, Danny. Then Kay with a $25 saying for dog walking the trolls every single time. Kat with a $10. Thank you so much. Greg with a $25. And Texas Shelly with a $25. Show some love to Greg and Texas Shelly. Thank you so very, very, very much. As well as Danielle with a $25. Faith with a $25. Alyssa with a $20. And Sabrina with a $10 as well. Thank you guys so much.
What kind of dog do your grandparents have?
I don't know. I don't know the specific breed. So why do you support Trump, Danny?
How many dogs does your family have?
Quite a few.
Like how many? Like at your brother's house or like where?
Quite a few. Why are you so interested in my personal life?
Why are you dodging the question? I asked you a question. What kind of dog is it?
I said I don't know.
Oh.
So why do you support Trump? Are you like the last guest? You're too scared to debate me on politics too. Really? Another one?
What do you mean?
Name one policy that Donald Trump passed that has benefited the middle class more than the top 1%.
What do you mean by that?
I find the question to be clear.
I don't understand it.
I mean, I feel like this speaks towards your intellect, not towards my ability to propose.
No, can you ask a different one?
Name one policy ever passed through Congress by anyone ever.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like what?
Okay, all right. Hey, Drew, how many continents are there?
7.
I'm really surprised you knew that. Good job. Moving on. Winnie, thank you for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat, saying is the last callers even is this the last caller's even dumber twin brother? Yeah, they were colluding with one another. Thank you for the $20, Winnie. Let's get 200 Winnie W's. And no.
Is it a vape? I just want to know.
No. How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
Liam, answer the question or I'm going to kick you. Okay, he left on his own. Moving on to the next guest, Josie. Go ahead and drop a MAGA down below in that comment section. We'll get you up here for a conversation. And then that was the third brother right there. What's up, Josie? Do you support Trump?
No, I just want to say I love watching your videos, and you absolutely cook everybody, which is why.
Josie, you're awesome. Wait, I'm so sorry for kicking you there in the middle of your statement. I'm sorry, Josie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Everybody, please show some love to Josie. I'm sorry for kicking you in the middle of your statement. I thought that this statement had completed. We are just looking for Trump supporters, but I love you, Josie. Thank you so much for the love. What's going on, man? Do you support Champ?
I do. Hey, Dean, do you drink Starbucks?
Did I?
Only out of a cup that doesn't say Starbucks?
On the
So you
tour.
pretend to not. So you're pretending to not drink Starbucks.
Let me know when you're done and I'll
So
answer
you
your
ask
question.
people, so you ask people to put it in another cup so you can pretend to boycott Starbucks. Let me tell you something that this traveling clown show did.
Can I answer to that first?
It exposed the
Phenomenal.
fact that you and Parker are frauds. You guys are complete fucking frauds, and you're the laughing stock of TikTok. And you and Parker will continue to fail at everything you do for your disrespect and your complete arrogance towards God. You will not succeed at anything you do.
I have a
You
feeling
are
you're
a
gonna
piece
leave.
of garbage.
This is when you
You
leave
are
because
a
you're
piece
beta.
of trash.
Wait
You
for
are
him to
a piece
leave.
of trash,
He's
just
gonna
like
leave.
Parker.
He's gonna leave.
And you will fail at everything you
He's
do
gonna
from
leave
here
in
on out.
5,
Have a
4,
good one.
3. You're gonna leave
Pretend
because
to
you're
not
beta.
drink Starbucks.
You're
Go
gonna
ahead.
leave
Pretend to not like Starbucks.
Okay, I'm muting you because I don't want you to leave, even though I know that you're so much of a beta. You're gonna leave anyways. I'm not really convinced that you care all too much about Starbucks when you actively support fascism. But anyways, so yeah, I stopped drinking Starbucks like fucking last year. I switched to local coffee shops, and then in November I switched over to an at-home espresso fucking setup. But on the tour, the organizers offered coffee to me and the other creators. I'd gotten 4 hours of sleep, and it was the day of the event. Of course, I was gonna fucking accept it. It came from Starbucks, and I didn't want to advertise Starbucks, so I had them put it in a different cup. No fucking. I don't see a big issue. I really don't, Desmos. And I know that you don't either. I know that you don't either. Because if your worldview is Starbucks bad but grape fascism good, you're like incredibly unintelligent.
You mean like Jones? You mean like Jones? Like Jones? Jones X, the complete fucking fraud too, that I've been trying to expose for a long time. You guys are all frauds. That traveling clown show exposed exactly who you guys are. Continue with your failing, because people are onto your guys' bullshit. You're a fraud. You are a complete fucking fraud.
Thank you
Enjoy
for
your fucking.
But you're gonna leave and you're not gonna debate me.
You're a fraud.
Okay,
Listen,
Desmos, I'm
I
just
got
gonna be
nothing
honest.
to
I'm gonna say this to you, and I'm gonna say this to all the Trump supporters in here, and I'm only gonna say this once. I am not your therapist. Okay? I am not. I'm not your guardian. I'm not your therapist. I'm not watching you. I'm not here so you can vent to me about your frustrations. I'm here to debate, okay? And it's fucking hilarious that only in 2025 can a 20-year-old, random 20-year-old on the internet be the guardian, be the outlet for frustrations of so many 65-year-old divorced lonely men. Okay, it doesn't make sense. So Desmos, I know you're threatened by me, or else you wouldn't be up here voicing every frustration in every inch of your body. But let's try to reframe this position and tell us why you support the current administration. Or are you going to go down the same path that the last two callers went down of basically saying, I admit it, Dean's smarter than me, I can't out-debate him. He knows more than I do. He's known more than I ever will. So I'm going to come up here and cry and whine like a fucking toddler instead of giving him one reason why Trump is a good president.
Are you done?
I'm done. The stove is off, and that medium rare filet mignon is sitting on a nice plate ready to eat.
Are you done? Are you done? Because you know what you did? You said nothing. You said nothing.
No, you just
like
heard
when you guys
nothing.
went over there with Charlie. Listen, just like when you went over there with Charlie Kirk, you guys look like complete idiots. Nobody takes you guys serious. That's why they turn the sprinklers on you dumbasses. You guys are frauds. Enjoy failing, buddy. Have a good one.
I'm winning as we speak. And I won again when you left. I won again when you left. I won again when you fucking left. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next guest. Everyone, let's see if we could find a single person that supports Trump that's willing to, I don't know, debate? Oh, beats me. Fucking beats me. Jesus Christ. What is going on today? Beats me. Let's go ahead and a bunch of snowflakes, okay? So the age of the right calling the left the snowflakes is over, okay? It's officially over. It's officially over. Because if those last three guests weren't just total fraudulent snowflakes, then what is? Donnie, what's going on? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
And how old are you?
25.
What year were you born in?
1999.
What month?
April.
You'd be 26.
Oh, my fault.
Drop a MAGA down below in that chat if you want to come up and debate, y'all. We got a couple people to thank here. Oh my God. First and foremost, thank you, Allison, for the $50 super chat over on YouTube for your patience and quick wit. Allison, that is so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for the love, Allison. I want to see 500 Allison W's. Gotta kick Tyler because Tyler's driving, but everybody please show some love to Allison down below. Also, show some love to Disgusted Veteran with the $20 super chat saying, keep winning, Dean. Dude, I love you, Veteran. It's good to have you in here with me today. Shout out, Veteran. What's going on? How old are you, Easy Baby?
Bruh, wait. I'm 30. I'm 39.
39.
I'm sorry.
Do you support Trump?
No, but I just wanted to say the last guy before this little dweeb joined. Oh my God. He better just keep a lookout for ICE, bro. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Moving on to the next guest. Logan, hi, how old are you? Okay. All right. Hello, Tony. Tony, hi. Okay. Wow. So, the amount of Americans, my fellow Americans, that have been willing to come up here and debate me have been very small, quite frankly. Hello, Mikey. Do you support Trump?
What's going on? Most of the things he does, yes. Not everything.
Okay, how old are you?
22.
22. All right, before we hop into a conversation, Mikey, I got to thank Christian.
I'll be more respectful than everyone else.
Fucking God. I appreciate that, Mikey. Christian with the $200 donation over on PayPal. What the fuck, Christian? I want to see 2,000 Christian W's down below in that chat. Christian says, I want to say a deep, deep thank you for supporting gay rights. You have to deal with so many awful people on live streams, but I'm cheering you on from Norway. Christian, you know I love you, man. Thank you so much for your kindness. We all love you here. I want everybody to show so much love to Christian in both of the live chats while we have this conversation with Mikey. And Mikey, while we're showing love to Christian, take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
I like a lot of his pro-life policies and what he's doing with the border. I feel like when Biden was the president, there's I think, correct me if I'm wrong on this number, 700,000 missing children at the border. Trump found the majority of them.
You are wrong.
I will say, I don't agree with everything he does. I don't agree with him wanting to run for a third term. I would have voted Vivek, but Trump was the option for Republican, so I had to vote him over Kamala.
You asked me to correct you if you were wrong. You were wrong. So no.
Okay, what was the number? My apologies.
Well, first, let's understand what the actual number is. You said 700,000. That's not true. The original claim from MAGA was 300,000, not 700,000. And I'm pretty sure even that claim was wrong. And it was actually 30,000. But let me ask you this question. Why were those children missing?
A lot of the time it was kids being trafficked.
So actually that figure comes from the amount of children that came to America to seek asylum that did not show up to their court hearing for their asylum claim. Okay. Now, let me tell you about a really cool app. The CBP1 app was an app given to asylum seekers so they knew when their court date was and where to show up, because a lot of asylum seekers simply don't know that. And what has the Trump administration done? He's revoked that app. So now less asylum seekers know when and where their court date is, meaning more children will go missing.
Can I chime in on that?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the asylum app, I feel like people were during Biden's term were kind of taking advantage of the asylum thing. When they didn't really need asylum, they just kind of wanted to come to America. So they kind of cheated the system and took advantage of it.
But now you're pivoting. So your first argument is that there's a bunch of missing children. And I refuted that argument by saying the reason they were missing is because they didn't show up to their court dates because a lot of them don't have access to their court dates. And there's this app that helped them have greater levels of access to their court dates. And Trump took it away, meaning that Trump has caused there to be more children that are missing. And then your response is to then just say, well, asylum has been abused. Okay, those are two separate, distinct claims, very different from one another. So I'd like you to stay on to the first topic.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, would it be fair to say not all of them were for the asylum seeker? Like a lot of these were people were trafficked by pimps across the border?
No, that claim directly comes from children that claimed asylum that had a court date that did not show up to their court date.
So you'd say all 30,000?
That's where the figure comes from. It's literally people that had a court date for asylum that didn't show up.
Okay, maybe I got to do some more research on that one. My bad. But could we pivot to pro-life policies? That's what I'm a big fan of. Yeah. So I like the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I mean, he's not as pro-life as I'd like him to be. I'm a little more pro-life than Trump.
What does that mean? You don't make exceptions for grape? Is that what that means?
I'd say that should be like the one exception, but like
What about life of the mother?
2 exceptions: rape, life of the mother, grape. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Okay, all right.
I don't think there's any other logical reason.
You really hate elective abortions?
Yes.
Okay, why? Why are elective abortions wrong?
I just feel like murdering an innocent child is wrong, so therefore I do not support it.
So why is abortion murder?
Yeah, I mean, it's a human life inside of the womb. I mean, it's just at an earlier stage of development. So just because people are younger, I don't think that gives you the right to terminate them.
Okay, so once again, why is it murder? Or better yet, what is murder? Can you define that word?
The unjustified killing of a human being.
And why is it unjustified to kill a fetus?
Because it is a human being.
Okay, so it's unjustified to kill a human being because they're human beings. Let me get this straight. Pulling the plug out of brain dead patients, therefore murder because they're human beings.
Depends on if there's consent to pull the plug.
Yeah, what if they don't have a DNR?
I don't think you should pull it.
So then that would be murder.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first absurd outcome of your logic. Second absurd outcome of your logic. When does human life start?
I believe probably the heartbeat.
Can dead things grow?
Dead things cannot grow. No.
Okay,
But
so
dead
then how does a
things cannot
fetus
have a
grow
heartbeat.
before it has a heartbeat if it's dead?
I said it starts with the heartbeat.
I know. Okay, but organic matter is either alive or dead. So that means that the fetus before it's alive is what? Dead. So how does a dead thing grow? Because it obviously has to grow to have a heartbeat.
Okay, I could say it starts before the heartbeat.
So when does it start?
I just
Conception?
feel like I'd have a better chance arguing the heartbeat claim.
So when does
because
it
it's hard
start?
to argue
Conception?
with it. I think correct me if I'm wrong, 3 weeks is when the baby has a heartbeat.
No, I'm talking about life. So when does life start?
I believe probably conception.
Okay, great. So a zygote is a human life. It's murder to kill a zygote?
I believe it's a human life. I feel like I'd be better arguing the fact over the heartbeat because a zygote, it's harder to argue that that's a human life.
So
But
you don't think it's murder to kill a zygote?
I do, but it's just harder to argue for, so I'd rather stick to the heartbeat.
So you're just asking me to take chess pieces off the chessboard in a game when you're about to get clocked.
I'm not a professional debater like you. I'm gonna be honest.
But
so
like,
I'd rather stick to the
listen,
heartbeat
man.
part. Yeah.
I'm not willing to do that for you because it's like this is the real outcome of your position. It is a fact that your position entails that it'd be murder to kill a zygote. It's a fact that is absolutely fucking preposterous, godly insane, and you have to come to terms with that. You can't.
Wait,
just
fair
ignore
enough.
it.
I'll back it up then. I'll back it up. So the zygote, I mean, I'm a Christian, so I believe it was created in the image of God, and it is a human life, so therefore terminating it would be murder.
Okay, so women with IUDs are murderers because IUDs can kill zygotes.
I wouldn't say IUDs necessarily. I'm not too familiar with IUDs.
It's a form of birth control. It's an intrauterine device, and these can function by preventing the implantation of the conceived zygote into the uterine lining, starving it.
So it starves as zygote. Pretty much like
It's one of the
taking
two
off the
functions of it.
umbilical cord.
Yep, IUDs can and do that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's murder then.
So women with IUDs that know that IUDs can and do that, and that are sexually active and have killed zygotes are murderers?
I mean, based off how you're telling me the IUD stops, I'm not too familiar with IUDs, just based off the way you're explaining it, that it stops the umbilical cord from giving the zygote food.
Okay.
A food source, yes.
So they are murderers, right?
Based off what you're telling me an IUD is, which I'm not too familiar with, yeah.
Yeah. Are you like Charlie Kirk? Do you think that like the action?
I'm not as good at debating as Charlie Kirk.
But do you agree? Do you agree with like Charlie Kirk that like the action of an abortion or like women being sexually active with IUDs, murdering these zygotes, murdering these fetuses, is like morally equivalent to something like the Holocaust?
I wouldn't say IUDs, but I'd say like later term abortion, yeah. And my reason being for that is because it has taken more lives than the Holocaust. But I will say they are both bad.
Yeah. Do you think that the use of violence by the Allied forces against Nazi Germany to stop the Holocaust was justified?
I'm talking about the people who went to concentration camps.
Yeah.
Not like
Do you think that the use of violence to stop the Holocaust was okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Would the use of violence to stop women from getting abortions, would that be okay?
I feel like it'd be better to solve it under talking, you know?
Oh,
like me and you.
so earlier when you told us that you think it's
I don't
morally
support
equivalent to
violence.
the Holocaust, that wasn't true.
I'd say the unjustified killing of people.
So if it is morally equivalent to the Holocaust, why was it okay to use violence to stop the Holocaust, but it's not okay to use violence to stop women getting abortions?
Because everyone disagreed with the Holocaust. I mean, I feel like abortion's kind of like maybe a 50-50 split, and it's divided our country a lot. So I don't think Americans should like rebel against each other.
So not everyone disagreed with the Holocaust at all. In fact,
Majority. It wasn't a 50-50 split though. I would say
it was essentially accepted by all of Europe outside of the UK, and even them, they were like sympathetic to just allowing it to continue. And the only reason they retaliated was because Nazi Germany went for the UK's land. And like even like the USSR, like you're not going to be able to convince me that like Stalin cared about the Holocaust too much. It was just to like control and gain power and like fight off the threat of a Nazi Germany. And then even like America was anti-interventionism for a while, essentially being complacent with it. So I mean, you're going to have a really tough time convincing me that people really did care. But I guess the demonstrable point of what I'm saying is like it's really insane to think that abortion is morally equivalent to the Holocaust or like American slavery, because we'd say it's justified to use violence to stop slavery. It's justified to use violence to stop the Holocaust, but it's obviously not justified to use violence to stop women from getting abortions. And then it's also, your position's also incredibly absurd because it entails that brain dead people having their plug pulled is murder, and women with IUDs that kill zygotes are murderers too. Like these are all reasons why your worldview is absurd. These are all
Hold up.
reasons
I'm
why
not
we should all
saying
reject
all
you.
brain plug. I'm not saying like everybody with the brain plug. I'm saying like people who don't consent to it. Like their families got to consent, everything like that. Pulling the plug without the consent.
If their family consents, is it murder?
I'd say if everybody can come to an agreement now.
Why? It's killing an innocent human life, just like abortion.
Depends on how long they've been on the life support.
Why would that matter? They're still an innocent human life.
Because if you're on life support, I mean, there's still a potential chance of you surviving it, you know?
No, there's not. When you're brain dead, you're brain dead. You will never be
So you're
conscious.
saying completely brain dead.
Wow. The irreversible cessation of like most cognitive function.
I'd say that's a lot different from abortion because they don't have a chance of life later on, you know? They're already going to die.
So then your argument is not that abortion is wrong because it's unique human life. Your argument is rather because they have a chance at life in the future.
I'd say that's a better way. I'll stick with that one for sure.
Okay.
They have a chance of life.
So you're basically saying that consciousness is morally valuable, and because a fetus will be consciousness in the future, you're going to give it the right to life now.
I wouldn't say consciousness because like I don't really think. I wouldn't say like a newborn baby just coming out of the womb.
So then what do you think? What do you think exists in that fetus's future that is morally valuable?
Just that they have a future life to live, you know.
But what does that mean? A future life to live? Living?
Yeah,
is that in a biological sense? Like biological human life?
Yeah, like once they
okay. Well, then, then under that same pretense, a brain dead patient has future biological life, insofar as they're not killed by disconnecting the life support from them.
They're gonna die, they're gonna die. They don't have a chance of coming off life support.
They don't have a chance at coming off of life support. Why is that relevant?
Because the human life in the womb, once it comes out of the womb, it has a whole life to live. A brain dead patient's not going to come off life support.
So you're basically arguing that if you only have like a couple more months of biological life in front of you, you don't have the right to life.
No, because it's not a conscious life that you have the future.
Oh, so you do care about consciousness. 5 seconds ago, you told me you didn't.
I said I do, but like I'd also say if you're a newborn baby, you're not really conscious. Like you don't remember anything that happens right when you come out of the womb.
So consciousness isn't defined by memory. Consciousness is defined by the existence of subjective first-person experiences. You
Yeah.
also said that you believe this because you're a Christian, right?
Yeah.
What branch?
I'd say Protestant.
You're
I was
Protestant.
raised Catholic, but I switched over.
Okay. So how do you know that Martin Luther was right?
I'm not a Lutheran.
So Martin Luther started Protestant movements in revolt to the Roman Catholic Church.
I go to like a bigger I don't know if you're at Elevation Church. It's like a bigger like mega
Yeah.
church.
So how do you know that Martin Luther was right? Protestant Christianity is right, and the Orthodox Church or the Catholic Church is wrong.
I'm not necessarily saying the Catholic Church is necessarily wrong. I just don't like how it's super like ritualistic, and I don't like being bored at church and not getting anything out of it.
What the fuck? So you could reject the teachings of God because they bore you, but women can't access abortion because a fetus may kill them? Come on.
No.
Come on. Like that's insane to me. That's insane to me. See, this is the issue.
I don't reject it's the same teachings
like
of God,
the Nicene Creed in the Catholic faith, it really bores me. Even though I don't think the
saying the
Catholic Church
Catholic
is
Church
wrong,
bores
and I
you.
do think that
up.
the
I see.
apostolic tradition of the papacy is the seed of Saint Peter, who on him had the Church of Jesus built, and the dogma of the Catholic Church is the true divine teaching of Jesus. I just ignore it because it bores me. So if you could ignore the Christian faith because it bores you, how come?
Not the Christian. Hold up. Can I rephrase that? Like I don't like how the Catholic Church is like super ritualistic. Like I don't think there should be like a person who's like in charge of the church, like the Pope. I think the leader of the church should be God. That's another reason, and I just like going to church at like a Protestant church more because I can take more away from it. It is
But
the
this
same
is all based on vibes. Like you understand. Like the reason
It's the
why
same
I'm
teachings.
the reason why I'm asking you this question is because it's all fucking based on vibes. You know, like the reason I asked this question, and I think we'll kind of jump to the conclusion because a conversation about the historicity of like the faith is probably going to bore and cause a lot of people to leave. But
Fair
at
enough,
the end of the
yeah.
day, if you're going to reject the Catholic faith, if you're going to reject the Roman Catholic Church, if you're going to reject the Orthodoxy, if you're going to hold the Protestant to a Protestant faith, claim Martin Luther is right, and that the Roman Catholic Church has it wrong, you can't just say, oh, I don't like it. Oh, the Roman Catholic Church bores me. Because basically what you're saying is that there's sound reason to believe that that the Holy See is the seat of St. Peter, that the Catholic faith is the Church of Jesus Christ, but you fail to engage in the tradition because it bores you, even though that is the teaching of Jesus. And it's just based on vibes, okay? And these are the same vibes that also just generally guide your belief that Christianity is true and I must abide by the Bible, not found with reason, not found with evidence, just purely how you feel. And I'm not here to shit on your faith, have your faith, but don't use that faith to then turn around and justify telling other people what they can and can't do with their bodies.
I mean, the Bible does say that God knew you before He formed you in the womb in Jeremiah 1:5. So I will say the Bible does go.
But my
against
claim
it.
is you don't have any evidence that Christianity is true. You don't have any rational reason to demonstrate that Christianity is true. It is based upon your faith. Do you affirm or deny that?
I deny it.
Okay. Justify Christianity.
Yeah, for sure. So like a lot of these people in the Bible were like eyewitness testimonies. In the Bible, when Jesus rose from the dead, they used a lot of woman testimonies where they're in ancient times they wouldn't use women as witnesses. Back then, that's part of it. They've also
So you're
found
basically saying the Bible's true because the Bible says it's true.
I have a few more claims. Sorry, but yeah, they have found pieces of Noah's Ark too.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, look it up.
That's objectively not fucking true. Also, not
Look
to
it up.
mention that even if it was true, Noah's Ark is a part of the Old Testament, which is upheld by Judaism.
Yeah, but it's still in the Bible though.
Well, then how do you know that Jesus was the second coming of God? Like, I'm going to grant you that we found pieces of Noah's Ark. It's not true at all, by the way. You know what? I'm not going to grant that to you. No, we haven't.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. You don't want to grant it. I mean, they used woman testimonies.
Wait. Give me the evidence that we found pieces of Noah's Ark.
I mean, it's online. You can look it up.
You're going to give me your source. I'm not going to do your homework for you.
Oh, I gotta pull up my laptop. Or can I go on pause real quick and give you my source?
Sure. Oh, man. It's okay. Listen, I'm going to share my view while he's on pause, and we'll even bring somebody else up in the meantime. Here's the thing. Have your faith. That's fine. Have it. I think that faith can do a lot of really good things for a lot of really good people. That is undeniably true. 110%. But keep it to yourself. Don't use your faith to dictate what other people can and can't do. It's that simple. Why am I saying this? Because you can't justify your faith like you can justify good economic policy. Like, we critically explore the reasons and the motivations behind the policy of candidates in the race for presidency, like the evaluation of Kamala Harris's economic policy compared to Trump's. We're going to look at what it is, what it might do. We're going to listen to economists and their projections. We're going to be looking at the rationale for their projections rooted in historical trends, principles of economics. We're going to be critically exploring why they're a good or bad thing, okay? But the same critical exploration can't be done on your faith.
So
Right?
I have found a lot of stuff on
When you're on pause, I can't hear you.
popularmechanics.com. They found soil samples of the exact location.
How do we know the location?
Damn,
Keep in mind.
I gotta keep going back to the source. I'm bad at reading and remembering right away. My fault. But they found the location in Turkey.
How do we know the location?
I mean, that was just the source. If you go on popularmechanics.com.
Okay, so you don't know how they found the location. So they're just claiming it's the location. Okay, I could claim that the location of the Noah's Ark is right under my feet. Pull up a piece of my floorboard and say I found Noah's Ark.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I do have faith in it. I mean,
Perfect. That's
like
what I wanted
how
to hear. You have faith that your religion is right, right?
Yeah. I mean, how else would the world have been formed?
How else would the world would have been formed?
Yeah.
It was
Do
around
you think
like
there was just a
so,
big explosion?
like completely ignoring the secular explanations for the formation of the universe, completely ignoring deistic arguments saying that there is a God, but he's not in communion with humanity. There's about like 999,000 other religions in which do explain a personal creator that has a relationship with you to justify the existence of the earth, which doesn't necessitate that therefore Christianity is true, therefore abortion's wrong.
So how was the earth created, do you think?
Completely irrelevant question to what I just explained. I just gave you sufficient answer to demonstrate that this doesn't imply that Christianity is true.
Okay, so I should use abortion without using God in the Bible.
Right.
Since there's no way to
Precisely. You
prove
have to have
it
a
except
secular
for
argument
faith.
to demonstrate that it's
Except
the
for
case.
faith.
Or hear me out, just don't use your faith to justify legislation. Keep it to yourself. Keep that close to your heart, and don't use that to infringe upon other people's rights. Because when we've done it historically, it's led to bad outcomes, as well as it leads to bad outcomes today, because it's not substantiated by fact or reasoned by faith alone. Okay?
I would
for
disagree with
instance,
that.
No, I'll give you proof. Do you
I'll
know?
let you finish when you.
I'll
if you
give.
want to.
I'll give you proof.
Could I give my reasoning
During
first?
American chattel slavery, they justified it with teachings from the Bible, particularly Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46, in which God proclaims that it is not morally wrong and in fact completely morally permissible for an Israelite to not own a non-Israelite as human property for life. Okay? What's the relevant distinction between Americans in American history using the Bible to justify slavery and you using the Bible now to justify pro-life legislation?
Yeah, I mean, my reason for like the Bible, like going off Christian values for America was because like most of the founding fathers who made the Constitution were Christian.
You're not answering my question at all. What the fuck does that have to do with what I asked? Would you like me to rephrase what I asked just to make sure
Yeah,
you understand
rephrase your
what I'm asking?
question. My fault. Yeah.
So during American slavery, enslavers used the Christian Bible, particularly Leviticus 25 verses 44 through 46, to justify the enslavement of Africans, particularly when God said that it is justified for an Israelite to own a non-Israelite as a slave, as human property for life. What is the relevant distinction between Americans in American history using the Bible to justify enslavement of others and you using the Bible now to justify pro-life legislation?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there is a distinction because the Israelites doing it back then, like that was a different time.
Is God morals law changing or unchanging?
Well, Americans aren't Israelites.
Oh, so if they were Israelites, it would have been fine.
I mean, back in those times, yeah. I mean, it was
Is
more
God morals law changing or unchanging?
morals. I mean,
Also,
the
the
Bible,
fact
I
that you
guess,
just said that slavery was justified in history is nuts. How can you convince me that during the time of the...
I'm saying it was justified to those people at that time.
Yeah, so explain to me...
I'm not justified.
Justify to me that it was morally good to treat a human as property and own them as slave for life, but it's morally bad to kill a clump of cells.
I mean, we're all clumps of cells.
When I say clumps of cells, I'm referencing not even a clump, a unicellular human zygote. Justify that in the time of the Old Testament, it was morally good to enslave a human and own them as property for life, but now it's morally bad to kill a unicellular human organism.
At that time, I mean, the Bible still said that killing human beings was wrong. So
you're not answering my question.
Well, that proclaims to the abortion question. It said, "You shall not kill."
So what's the question that I asked you?
You said to get the distinction between why it's right, why
So I just want to clarify. You don't.
Slavery is right.
So you don't see like the glaring issue by saying that slavery hasn't always been wrong, but killing a unicellular organism has. You don't see the issue there.
I think slavery has always been wrong for sure. But
okay. So then you're denying the teachings of Leviticus.
I mean, each disciple wrote different parts of the Bible.
What the fuck?
Like it wasn't all written by God. Like some parts.
Oh, so now you're going into heresy. Actually, it is true that in accordance with all Christian faiths, that the Bible was divinely inspired by all authors. So now you're denying that teaching of Christianity.
I'm not denying that teaching.
Yes, you are. It is a teaching of all branches of Christianity that the authors of all sections of the Bible, all 46 of them, were divinely inspired in their writing.
I mean, yeah, most of them were inspired, but like
no,
the
not
Old
most,
Testament,
all.
like
not most, all. Who wrote?
I mean,
Leviticus?
I'd say in the Old Testament, like that was before Jesus was like alive or anything like that, so he couldn't have taught them beforehand, you know.
Who wrote Leviticus?
I'm not too sure.
Moses, the same person that gave us the 10 Commandments. So this means that the 10 Commandments weren't divinely inspired either.
I mean, I agree with the 10 Commandments for sure.
Wait, why? They weren't divinely inspired because how the hell could Jesus told Moses what his teachings were?
I mean, because most of them have good values in the 10 Commandments. I just agree with the 10 Commandments.
Oh, so
you shall not kill, you shall not steal.
Oh, so you're basically saying that they don't come from God. Okay, if they don't come from God, why should I care? Because if God existed and they didn't come from God. Wait, you don't think that the Old Testament came from God?
I mean,
wait, you understand that God literally affirmed in the New Testament of the Bible that Jesus was not eradicating or overruling the Old Testament. He was merely fulfilling it. Seemingly, you don't know much about your own theology.
I mean, I guess I don't know too much about the Old Testament, but I'd probably say more about the New Testament. I haven't read much of Leviticus, like that specific book.
Because the book of Leviticus says that slavery is okay.
I didn't even know that it said slavery was okay in Leviticus because I haven't.
So then, what do we do? What do we do with this? How do you go upon from the transgression that you hold to the moral claim that slavery has always been wrong? However, your moral standard of the Christian God disagrees, instantiating that it was okay for a group of people at one point.
I mean, yeah, because that's what Moses said. I mean, Moses said it was okay at one point, not specifically God.
Actually, it was a message to Moses from God,
saying that slavery was I guess I got to read more in the Leviticus because I'm not too familiar with it, if I'm being honest.
Okay, well, assuming that I'm right, and you could prove that I'm right by reading the first verse of Leviticus 25, what do we do?
Go back to abortion, and I could use it without using Christianity.
So you have a secular justification that abortion's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, also, I want to ask you, you said that you're Protestant, so you agree with the New Testament when it says that all sins are equal in the eyes of God outside of blasphemy, right?
Yeah, in the eyes of God, yeah.
Is the eyes of God your standard of morality?
Yeah.
Okay. Should lying to your children telling them that Santa Claus exists be illegal?
I mean, not all Christian values are held under the law.
Answer my question.
I mean, we all sin, so
answer my question.
I don't think all sin
not
should
what
be.
I asked. Answer my question.
My answer is no.
Okay.
But like, I don't think
so.
all
If
sin
it shouldn't be illegal to lie
law.
to your children and tell them that Santa Claus exists, why should it be illegal for a woman to get an abortion? Because these two sins are identically wrong in the eyes of God, your perfect divine standard of morality.
Yeah, I mean, all sin's wrong for sure, but I wouldn't say all should be illegal. Because like because we all sin, you know.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's just like a strict contradiction. How can you logically explain that one? If lying to your child, telling them that Santa Claus is real, is just as wrong as a woman getting an abortion. No, Mikey. Let me
My
finish.
fault. Didn't mean to cut
just
you
as
off.
wrong in the eyes of God as a woman getting an abortion. Why should abortion be illegal, but telling your kids Santa Claus exists? Why should that be illegal? Why should you hold a different standard towards the legality of these two actions if they're identically as wrong as one another according to your standard of morality?
Yeah, for sure. Because like one thing's in the eyes of God, but like the eyes of the government looks differently. You know.
Is God perfect?
Yeah.
Is God ever wrong?
Not in my eyes, no.
So if anybody contradicts the teachings of God, they are wrong.
Yeah, but they shouldn't go to jail.
If the government holds a different standard of legality towards lying to your children, telling them that Santa Claus exists, and a woman getting an abortion, is the government wrong?
No, because not everyone's Christian.
Does that not everyone's Christian.
Mhm.
Wait, so a non-Christian can sin without doing anything wrong because they're not Christian?
I mean, it's still wrong for anybody to sin.
So it doesn't matter that not everyone's Christian. Does the government disagree
It
with
doesn't
God?
matter to the government.
Does the government disagree with God insofar as legislating on one's access to abortion while not legislating on telling your children that Santa Claus exists?
I would say, yeah, the government. I'm not maybe not about the lying part, but like I would say the government.
Okay, so the government does disagree with God. So that means the government's wrong.
Yeah, I think in a lot of I think we can both agree the government's wrong in a lot of ways.
So basically you're telling us that the government banning a woman's access to abortion is inherently wrong and unjust.
How so?
You just told me. Because they hold a different standard towards other sins in which are viewed identically in the eyes of God. Would you say that lying to your children, telling them that Santa Claus exists should be illegal?
There's separation of church and state. So.
Oh, well, there should be a separation between church and state, and we shouldn't use the church to run the state. Earlier, you told me that you want pro-life legislation because of the church intertwining church and state. So seemingly at this point, you'd have to just say that your standard of morality, consequential of your belief in the Christian God, is separate from the state, meaning you do not think we should have pro-life legislation as ordained by the state.
I don't think we should have it due to just Christianity. I think there's a bunch of other reasons for pro-life legislation.
Okay, like what?
Unjustified murder of a human being, I think.
Why is it unjust?
Because you're murdering a baby.
And why is it murder?
Because it is a human being at an earlier stage of development.
And why is murder wrong?
Because you're offing a human being.
And why is offing a human being wrong?
Because their life ends, they die.
And why is ending somebody's life wrong?
I mean, that's like asking, why is the sky blue? Like, why is murder wrong?
Yeah, the answer should be obvious to you, because your God said so. Just going right back to the church.
Okay, why do you think? I would hope you think murder is wrong, but why do you think murder is wrong?
Yeah, because I think it's a rights violation. I think that the right to life is consequential that of exhibiting a conjunction of traits pertaining to a conjunction of past or present and future subjective experiences, and this is going to be qualified given my standard of morality, which is indexed to myself. Okay,
fair
but
enough.
The thing is you can't do that because you're a Christian. You have to say.
I think abortion's a rights violation too.
Okay. Name the trait about the fetus that is morally valuable insofar as granting it the right to live.
Yeah, I mean, a heartbeat's definitely a trait.
Okay, really? So does a chicken, a cow, and a pig all have the right to life because they have a heartbeat?
It's a human heartbeat. Let me just
say human heartbeat specifically.
Yeah.
Okay, well, earlier you told me it's not murder to pull the plugs on brain dead patients even though they have a human heartbeat. That's a contradiction.
Because they're gonna die later on. Like they're gonna die.
That fetus is gonna die later on in the future.
They're gonna die in a shorter period of time, like a brain dead.
What period of time do you have to die within to no longer have access to the right to life?
I mean, if you're already gonna die like right away, as soon as there's a plug being pulled on you. I mean,
so
you
like
don't have
how long do you have to live in order for you no longer have the right to life because you're not gonna live for too much longer?
I mean, in terms of like being brain dead, I'd say like.
Wait, if you're just saying that they don't have the right to life because if you were to take away like support for their life, they die. So people with pacemakers don't have the right to life because if you were to take their pacemaker away from them, they die.
Talking about life support specifically.
Oh, so you're special pleading in the context of brain dead patients.
You were talking about life support and then you switched it to a pacemaker.
Yeah, because you said the reason why brain dead patients don't have the right to life is because if you remove their life support, they die. Well, if you remove somebody's pacemaker, they die.
Could you define a pacemaker for me? I'm not too familiar with it. I'm assuming it's not like life support. My apologies.
It's just an instrument that can help individuals like maintain like life through the prevention of like atypical. It just keeps your heart beating. Sorry, I was making that overcomplicated.
Okay, it keeps your heart beating, but you can still like talk and do like all the activities, like talk, hear people and everything like that.
Right.
Yeah, you should not get rid of people's pacemakers.
Then what the fuck does this have to do with somebody's heart? Because earlier you told me the reason why the fetus has the right to life is because they have a human heartbeat. But talking, eating, experiencing has nothing to do with a human heartbeat.
I mean, yeah, because you kind of are developing. I mean, you kind of are eating when you're in the womb through the umbilical cord. So.
Wait, so if you could eat, you have the right to life?
No, I mean, there's people on feeding.
So zygotes can't eat. Zygotes don't have the right to life. If I just were to stop eating right now and never eat again, I'd lose my right to live.
I mean, you would die because you weren't eating. You'd starve to death.
Yeah, eventually. But if I were to stop eating right now, I would lose the right to life under your view right now before I starve to death.
I mean, that's like saying if you were to hang yourself, you'd lose the right to life because you're going to die. That's pretty much equivalent.
That is actually an equivalent position under your view. Do you think that people who are contemplating and do pursue self-unaliving no longer have the right to life?
I mean, once they die, they're dead.
But you're not answering my question. I'm asking you about the right to life prior to their death.
Obviously not. Obviously not.
Okay,
No.
so then actually dying soon doesn't mean that you don't have the right to life. So how come brain dead patients don't have the right to life?
Different circumstance.
Which is?
Different circumstance, meaning like they don't have like a future ahead of them. They're going to die anyway. I mean, you could, when you're...
What is a future?
A future of like life. We don't.
What is future life? What does that mean? Is that consciousness? Is that sentience?
No, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. I mean,
so then what is it? How do I know what a future life is? Tell me what a future life is.
I'll give you that.
Future life. So in other words, you think that it's wrong to disrupt environments that will produce sentience in the future?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the environment of your parents engaging in intercourse that led to your conception produce sentience in the future would have been wrong for your mother to revoke a consent to engaging in said intercourse with your father.
Can you rephrase that? I'm sorry.
You said it's wrong to disrupt environments that will produce sentience in the future. The environment of your mother and father engaging in intercourse on the night you were conceived was an environment that definitely will produce sentience in the future. Would have been wrong to disrupt that environment by your mother revoking consent from engaging in intercourse with your father.
But I'm gonna have a life in the future when they had intercourse. So why would I remove that? They're creating the life. They didn't.
So would have been wrong for your mother to revoke consent to intercourse.
I mean, is she gonna abort me later on?
No, you won't exist because she revoked consent from intercourse.
I mean, the egg hasn't been fertilized yet.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. You told me that it's morally wrong to disrupt environments that produce future states of sentience.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Yeah, you shouldn't disrupt future.
So then it's wrong it would have been wrong for your mother to revoke consent to sex.
Okay, that's already in development to go toward sentience. Let me rephrase that.
That is an environment that's in development to point towards future sentience. So it would have been wrong for your
not
mother
in
to revoke
development
consent to
yet
sex.
because the sperm hasn't met the egg.
Okay, so now your position is all so fucking confusing. What the fuck is your position? You've went from ping ponging about sentience to conception to human heartbeats, and you're all over the place, Mikey. What is your position?
About abortion?
Yeah, you can't keep a consistent thought in your head at this point. I'm being serious, man. Which one is it? Is it the heartbeat? Is it the sentience? Is it the human life? Is it the environment that will produce future sentience? Is it one's propensity to die close in the future? Is it having external support to keep you alive?
I'd still say the heartbeat.
You've given me like 15 fucking arguments here.
Yeah, I'd say,
and I keep on losing. I keep on ending them, proving them wrong, and then you pivot to another one. So what is it? Why do you think abortion is wrong?
Yeah, I'd say once it's at a heartbeat, it's wrong because it has the chance for a future life, a future healthy life.
Wait, does it not have that chance before the heartbeat?
It does.
So then why is it not wrong then?
I think it's harder to argue that would be wrong then because I'm not as good at this debating as you.
What? What? What the fuck? You said it's wrong at the heartbeat because at that point it has a chance of future sentience. But then you're like, well, it also has a chance at future sentience before the heartbeat, and you don't think it's wrong. So in other words, chance at future sentience has nothing to do with why you think abortion was wrong, but all to do with the heartbeat, just an arbitrary trait.
I mean, future sentience definitely plays a role.
No, it doesn't, because you have future sentience before the heartbeat.
Yeah.
And you don't think it's wrong.
I mean, I do, but
No, you just told us that it wasn't. You just told us that it wasn't. You just told us that it wasn't 5
I'm saying
seconds
it's harder
ago.
to justify. I mean, I think it's harder to justify the life of a zygote than the life of someone with a heartbeat.
So
that's
is
what
it
I'm
murder or
saying.
not murder to kill a zygote?
I think it's murder, but I think it's harder for me to explain why it's murder to kill a zygote. Because you're better at debating. It's harder for me to explain.
Okay, I'm going to ask you for the last time to give us a consistent position. I just asked you to give us a consistent position, and you gave me a contradictory position, and then you contradicted the contradictory position. I'm not even trolling. I'm not memeing. I'm not being hyperbolic. You were asked for a consistent position. You gave a contradictory one, and then you contradicted the contradictory one. So what is it?
I mean, I'd say both. Heartbeat, and you look shocked. Heartbeat.
What does both even mean? What does both mean? What
Zygote
the
and heartbeat. It's wrong to kill a zygote and heartbeat.
Okay, so why?
Because it's a human life.
Okay, so you just think it's wrong to kill human life?
Yes, exactly.
This contradicts the fact that you don't think it's wrong to pull the plug on a brain dead patient.
I mean, I think if they consent, the family consents to pulling the plug on a brain dead patient, it's fine.
Okay, so it's fine to kill human life as long as the family consents to it. So if the family of the fetus, aka the mother, consents to killing the fetus, that's okay too.
I mean, the father plays a role in that too.
Okay, I don't think the father does.
I mean, the baby came from the father's balls, though.
Sir, do you drive a car?
Yeah.
Was there people that helped in the manufacturing of said car?
Yeah.
Do they have a right to tell you what you can and can't do with your car?
No, because I paid for the car.
Because it's yours, right? It's
Yeah.
under your ownership.
Yeah.
It's your property.
Yeah.
You entered into a contractual agreement with the seller in which you consented to giving them money in return for the vehicle in which you now have full control and say-so over. And they don't have a say-so over it.
Yeah, because I paid for the car.
Phenomenal. So when a woman consents to engaging in
I know where
intercourse
you're going with this.
with a man, what do they consent to? Just engaging in sex, or engaging in sex and also consenting to giving the man a control and say-so over her body for the next 9 months?
I don't think it's a woman's body.
You don't
It's
think
another-
a woman's body is a woman's body?
I don't think the fetus inside is the woman's body.
But in order for a man to actualize a control and or say-so over the fetus's body inside of the woman's body, they thereby also necessarily have to control the woman's body, you idiot.
I mean, I think the fetus isn't the woman's body because
I agree. The fetus is not the woman's body, but in order for a man,
separate body
in order
with a
for a
separate
dad to actualize any control and say so over the fetus, they must also necessarily actualize a control and say so on the woman's body because the fetus's body is growing inside of her uterus.
Yeah, but it came from the man's body too.
So once again, in order for a man to actualize any control or say so over the life of the fetus, they must also actualize a control and say so over the life of the body of the woman, correct?
Could you rephrase that? I'm sorry.
No, I'm actually not going to rephrase it. You could leave. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm done re-explaining myself. It has been over 40 fucking minutes. We've lost 3,000 people because you can't keep a consistent position. And now I'm getting pissed and I'm getting pressed.
You were just talking fast. I'm sorry. man.
I'll say it one last time.
No, I'm just trying to be respectful.
Listen, I understand that you're trying to say that you're trying to be respectful. I'll try to be more respectful myself. I'm getting heated because there's not a consistent position being granted here whatsoever.
Okay, I'm not as good as debating as you are. I'm sorry, my fault. I don't agree with what you're saying.
When a woman consents to sex, what are they consenting to?
When you're consenting to sex, I think you're consenting to getting pregnant, having a kid. Because anything could happen, like condom could break.
What is consent?
I mean, you can consent to a lot of things.
What is consent?
Consenting to intercourse or just consent in general?
What is consent?
Giving permission.
Okay, so I don't know if I need to say this out loud. I don't think when a woman engages in sex, they're giving permission to be pregnant. I don't think you can give permission to biological processes. Do you give permission to your heart to beat?
It just does it naturally.
Because it's a biological process?
Nobody gives consent. Nobody.
You can't.
gives
You don't
consent.
give your heart permission to beat because it's a biological process, right?
Yeah, but I couldn't
Is
control.
conception a biological process?
You can control conception from happening. You can't control your heart beating.
So you can control conception. You can't control conception.
You can't control your heart beating. I mean, it just beats.
You can't control conception.
You can, because once you consent to having intercourse, the baby can potentially.
Oh,
form.
okay. Just like when I consent to driving in my car on the road, I could potentially get T-boned by a drunk driver. Does that mean I could control drunk drivers?
You can't stop a drunk driver from drunk driving.
Fucking exactly. Even though you had to consent to driving on the road in the first place in order to get T-boned by one. So even though you have to consent to sex in the first place in order to run the risk of conception occurring, this doesn't mean that you can control conception for the same reason that you have to consent to driving a car to be on the road to get T-boned by a drunk driver, but that doesn't mean that you're consenting to and or controlling the drunk driver T-boning you.
That's a completely different thing now.
What's different?
Because it's a person driving a car and like T-boning you versus you willingly killing a baby.
Actually, we're not talking about abortion and willingly killing a fetus at all. We're talking about how you can or can't consent or have permission or granted to that of conception. Why are you strawmanning the fuck out of my position? What the fuck? We weren't even talking about abortion. What the hell? We were talking about your claim that you think a woman consents to pregnancy and gives permission to conception. What does that have to do? What?
Yeah.
So once again, the analogy is very fucking simple. Okay, you cannot consent to conception. You do when a woman engages in consents to sex, she's not giving permission for conception to occur. For the same reason, when you willingly consent to, acknowledge, and drive on the road, you understand that there's a risk that exists that you get T-boned by a drunk driver. But even if you do get T-boned by a drunk driver, you're not consenting to getting T-boned by a drunk driver, and you're not giving permission to the drunk driver to T-bone you. Just like when you engage in intercourse, you willingly consent to the action of intercourse, as well as you acknowledge the risk that pregnancy as well as conception can be consequential of consenting to engage in intercourse. But just like the drunk driver T-boning you, you're not giving permission for conception to occur, and you're not consenting for conception to occur.
I think you are, because you know conception can occur. That's a potential risk, so you know the risks that are happening.
Okay, when you drive on the road, is there a potential risk of getting T-boned by a drunk driver?
Yeah, I mean, there's.
So if you do drive and you do get T-boned by a drunk driver, you're giving them permission?
I mean, I'm knowing the risks that happen, but I'm not giving them permission now.
Okay, just like a woman knows the risks of intercourse, but if conception and pregnancy occurs, she's not giving permission for it to happen. Boom.
But that's her fault for the conception happening, and the man's fault too.
But you're saying that it's her fault because she consented to the sex. Therefore, it's your fault if you get T-boned by a drunk driver because you consented to driving, acknowledging the risk of getting T-boned by a drunk driver. How are you this fucking dense?
The analogy just doesn't make sense. They're completely separate things.
No. It actually makes total and complete sense. Tell me the logical symmetry breaker. There is not one, you idiot.
It is complete.
Okay, so then what's a logical symmetry breaker?
For this instance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'd say you going for for a conception and a logical symmetry breaker for conception, you're saying? Like an analogy that correlates with it. Is that what you're saying?
I'm waiting for the symmetry breaker.
I'm just not understanding the question that much. So just like an analogy that compares to conception?
I'm asking you for the difference between your statement that because a woman consents to sex and acknowledges that conception is a potential consequence of sex, she's therefore consenting to conception. And my analogous hypothetical example of me consenting to driving on the roads, acknowledging the risk that if I drive on the roads, I may get T-boned by a drunk driver. Therefore, I'm also consenting to getting T-boned by a drunk driver.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're asking now. My fault. You rephrased it a lot better, so I appreciate you for that. But yeah, I mean, I'd say when you're driving, like you can't really control a drunk driver from happening, but like
you can't control getting T-boned by a drunk driver if you drive, just like you can't control conception occurring if you engage in sex.
I mean, you can control it if you go without a condom.
Okay, so you're saying that there's preventative means that you could deploy while engaging in sex to reduce its likelihood?
Yeah.
Okay, just like there's preventative means that you could engage in while you're driving to reduce the likelihood of getting T-boned, such as awareness and defensive driving.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I'd agree with that.
So therefore, because these two situations are analogous and you agreed, if you do drive and you do get T-boned by a drunk driver, it's your fault. You consented to it and you gave them permission.
You didn't give them permission, but there's definitely ways you can stop the risk from happening. Like
by not driving, right? Just like you'd say by not engaging in sex in the first place.
By not driving, I mean, no. I mean, you can stop it for sure by being defensive. But
No,
like
you could
not
only reduce its likelihood by being defensive.
reduce its likelihood for
Just
sure.
like you could only reduce the likelihood of pregnancy occurring by using a condom, Plan B, birth control, etc. Oh, but let's not forget that you think birth control is literal fucking murder. Uh-oh. See, that's the issue with a pro-life worldview there, folks.
What did I say
They'll tell
that?
you, oh, you could engage in safe sex. All you got to do is use birth control. But the moment you do use birth control, guess what? You're a murderer. Fucking clown.
When did I say that?
Yeah, earlier. You said that it is murder to kill a zygote. IUDs kill zygotes. Women would thereby be culpable for murder.
Okay, I mean, if birth control stops zygotes, I guess I could say that I don't think killing a zygote's really is bad.
Okay, so then why is it murder to kill a fetus but not murder to kill a zygote?
Because they're at a later stage of development. You know, they're
Oh, so you could use a stage of development of life to justify granting it the right to life or not.
Later
You
stage
just
of
justified the pro-life worldview, the pro-choice worldview. I only grant it the right to live in the later stage of development, having the ability to deploy sentience.
What stage of development?
Around 20 through 24 weeks with the existence of the thymocortical connections.
And yeah, that's where I would disagree because I'd
Okay,
say
well now at this point it's completely arbitrary. You're just saying that your intuitions matter and mine don't, and for whatever fucking reason, Mikey's intuition should be able to dictate what 170 million American women and girls can and can't do with their bodies.
it's not just my intuition; it's a lot of people's intuition.
Okay, 90% of humans
More than
alive
half of
300
the
years.
world.
90% of humans alive 300 years ago thought that the Earth was flat. Was the Earth flat?
No.
Oh, great. So just because something is popular doesn't mean it's true. Another idiotic take.
I mean, some people still think the Earth's flat, but some people still think it's flat. That doesn't mean that we can all come to agreement that it's flat.
Okay, are we all in agreement that abortion's wrong?
No.
Oh, great.
Majority
Points
is.
disputed.
Majority is.
Actually, that's not true. There was a poll done. 65% of Americans are pro-choice. But that doesn't even matter because
Why would Trump have won?
Majority belief doesn't dictate what's true or false. Are you seriously arguing if majority people think something that's true? Once again, majority people alive 300 years ago thought the Earth was flat. Was that true?
No.
Okay, so just because majority people believe something, it doesn't make that something said true.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Okay, so then why did you try to argue because majority people have intuitions that abortion's wrong, therefore it is wrong?
That's not my reasoning. I'd say the
What
heartbeat
was your
is.
reasoning?
It's a later stage of development. You know, its heart's starting to beat. There's a lot of things taking place. Like it's starting to develop skin, muscle, fingernails, as the weeks go on. So I think
Why is skin, muscle, fingernails, and heartbeat matter?
because
Seems
it's
completely arbitrary.
and they can feel it. Like they experience the pain when having an abortion.
Oh, so it's that fact that they could feel pain. That's what makes abortion wrong.
That definitely is one of the reasons.
Oh,
for sure.
shit. Well, actually, fetuses can't feel pain until 28 weeks. Congrats, you're more pro-choice than I am.
Then why do they, when you pull up the not the X-ray, when they do the ultrasound, why does it show the baby like squirming away?
Dude, dead
from
muscles
the
can make
tube?
movement. Unicellular organisms make movement and respond to external stimuli.
talking
That's
about
not
when it's
indicative of
alive.
any subjective perceptions.
I'm talking about before they are fully aborted, like when the tube is going in.
Yeah, life forms respond to external stimuli even when they're dead. Even if they exist in even unicellular life forms respond to external stimuli.
So
You
saying the
respond to
fetus-
external stimuli when you're asleep.
Are you saying the fetus is dead?
No, I'm saying that you can respond to external stimuli without an ability to have any level of perception.
Yeah, but if you were already dead, you wouldn't be squirming away from the tube that's sucking your guts out.
Actually, dead muscles can react to external stimuli too because of built up ATP proteins. So I just want to make it clear that response to external stimuli does occur in unicellular life forms, in dead muscles, and definitely does not imply any level of exhibited sentience, consciousness, etc. Not to mention that when we actually listen to the doctors, the people that have been studying this since the 70s, they say that pain can only be felt, perceptions can only exist for pain at 28 weeks, and any level of sentience can only start developing and occurring at 20 through 24 weeks.
So that's why you have the 28-week stance, but you don't think it should be
I
like
have a 20 through 24 week stance. But once again, you should have the 28-week stance because you just told me you think an abortion is wrong because a fetus has the ability to deploy pain or feel pain. So if that is your standard for why you think an abortion is wrong, you should be pro-choice until 28 weeks because that is the point at which that ability arises.
Then why are you 20 to 24 weeks instead of 20?
Because I don't value the ability to feel pain. There's full-grown fucking adult humans that don't have the ability to feel pain, and I still think they have the right to life.
What do you value before the 28 weeks? That's what I'm saying.
Sentience.
So it's sentient at 20 weeks.
Yep. Low levels of sentience.
Okay, but you don't think like the heart? So when they,
I don't care about heartbeats. I eat meat. Chickens have heartbeats. I eat meat. Cows have heartbeats. I eat meat. Pigs have heartbeats. I don't think it's murder to pull the plug on brain dead patients. Brain dead patients have heartbeats. I also think that you should be obligated to perform CPR in an individual in which would need it. They don't have a heartbeat, but they're still valuable. Seemingly, heartbeats are not valuable at all.
Human heartbeats. Let me rephrase that.
So if somebody's heart stops beating and they need CPR or they're gonna die, like, do you think that life is morally valuable?
They're still alive though.
So it has nothing to do with the heartbeat.
That's one of the things.
No, it's not at all. You fucking idiot.
Man,
you just conceded that the heartbeat had nothing to do with it when you told me that it is not murder to kill a brain dead patient who has a heartbeat, but it is murder to kill somebody that needs CPR even though they don't have a heartbeat.
I mean,
you're so dishonest. Like, you're so fucking dishonest.
Man, I'm trying to be respectful.
No, you're not. I'm sorry. I reject that now. You are absolutely not trying to be respectful in the fucking slightest. You're being a dishonest weasel. You're sitting on here telling me that women and girls deserve no access to their healthcare, violating their human right of bodily autonomy because there's absolutely no good reason to justify said rights and infringement. And they're like, oh, it's because a fetus has a heartbeat. But guess what? If you don't have a heartbeat, you're still morally valuable. And in some circumstances, if you do have a heartbeat, you're not morally valuable and I could kill you. So at the end of the day, when I say I value the fetus because of a heartbeat, I'm being a dishonest weasel and I'm merely special pleading.
I mean, I do value the heartbeat.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Do brain dead patients have heartbeats? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Is it murder to pull the plug on a brain dead patient? Yes or no?
If they don't consent to it and the family doesn't consent to it.
If the family consents to it, obviously. Is it murder? Yes or no?
The family consent. If everybody in the family consents, not a single person doesn't consent, then no, it's not murder, including
even though they have a fucking heartbeat. Therefore, you do not place moral value on said heartbeat.
Well, they can consent themselves. Like, they can say if they were on life support, they'd want to get the
in the absence of a DNR.
The absence of a DNR, but like the mom, dad, brother, sister,
family consents.
Whole family.
Yeah.
And they believe. Well, they would believe that that's what the person on life support wanted.
Oh, so you're saying that family members could speak for other family members that can't speak for themselves. Mothers can speak for the fetus because a fetus can't speak for themselves.
They're going to die anyway. The fetus isn't about to die, like the person who's on life support.
Oh, okay. So if the fetus has a chronic illness that'll kill it at the age of 3, it's okay for the mother to get an abortion.
You can still survive with a chronic illness, like just because you have a high
we know
chance.
You're not going to survive and you're going to die at the age of 3.
I mean, you never know for sure.
Yes, we do. In this hypothetical, we do know for sure.
That's not doesn't happen that often.
Also, miscarriage can occur.
Miscarriage doesn't count as an abortion. Like, that's a...
So if we know for sure that this fetus is going to die at the age of 3, you dishonest, illogical weasel, is it justified for the mother to get an abortion?
If it's going to die at the age of 3, no.
Oh, okay. So seemingly dying soon doesn't mean it's okay to kill you. So why is it okay to kill brain dead patients?
I mean, they still have a life to live. The brain dead patient isn't going to live.
Oh, so we're right back to sentience and consciousness. Well, guess what? Zygotes have future sentience and consciousness, and you don't think it's murder to kill them. So in other words, you're only special pleading for the fetus.
Get off me, Wiz. My fault. My cat just jumped on me. But yeah, I mean, the zygote, like, they have the chance. They're going to have a good life to live after.
But it's not murder to kill them.
I'm not as good for making the argument that it is murder.
Oh, great. So in other words, yeah, you think it's not murder to kill the to kill the zygote, even though they have future consciousness, but it is murder to kill the fetus because they have future consciousness. That's a contradictory position.
Wait, I mean, I think it's harder to argue that the zygote has, like, that it's to justify like that it's not okay to murder a zygote, then I would.
Yeah, so in other words, you have a contradiction because you think it is okay to kill the zygote even though it has future conscious experiences,
I
but
don't
it's not
think
okay
it's
to kill the fetus because it has future conscious experiences.
No, I don't think it's okay to kill the zygote, but I think it's harder to argue.
So
that
you do
it's
think
not-
it's murder to kill a zygote?
I do, but what I'm saying.
Okay, so then
is
should
not
women with
okay to
IUDs,
kill
do you think that women with IUDs that kill zygotes are murderers that should go to jail?
IUDs meaning like birth control.
Yeah, it kills zygotes.
That's a difficult question. I don't
No,
know.
you're basically asking me if it's a difficult question to call murderers murderers. Seemingly, if you actually thought it was murder to kill a zygote, it wouldn't be a difficult question at all. If somebody decapitated your grandma, would you have a difficult time calling them a murderer? No. If somebody slaughtered a newborn, would you have a difficult time calling them a murderer? No. If somebody literally starved a newborn, would you have a difficult time calling them a murderer? No. But if somebody starves a zygote, even though it fulfills all of the criteria of what you value, future potential for conscious experiences, is a human now, you have a difficult time calling them a murderer. So seemingly, you're being very dishonest and very bad faith when you even call that a murder to begin with.
I mean, I still do think it's a murder. I just think it's harder to justify it. You know, that it's not. That
Okay,
it's not,
so then women with IUDs that kill zygotes are murderers, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Okay, should all murderers go to jail?
I think the doctors should.
Not what I asked. Should all
Not the
murderers go to
women.
jail?
I don't think all the women are murderers.
That's
Let
not
me
what I
rephrase
asked.
that.
Should all murderers go to jail?
Yeah.
Okay, so because you just said that women with IUDs that engage in intercourse and kill zygotes are murderers, you think that women with IUDs that engage in intercourse and kill zygotes should go to jail?
Like the ones who get the birth, like the Plan B or whatever.
Yeah, the birth control. So basically, the result of your position is that some women with some forms of birth control should go to jail.
I think that's a difficult one. That's a difficult question. Maybe the people who made the birth control who manufactured it.
Now you're contradicting yourself because if you say they shouldn't go to jail, then you're contradicting earlier when you said you think all murderers should go to jail, or you're contradicting when you said women with IUDs are murderers.
I guess I was contradicting women with IUDs being murderers.
Okay, so then you don't think it's murder to kill a zygote.
Yeah, I guess not. You
Okay.
know, you got to.
So
You know
then-
what?
so- so-
Common ground, first time.
So then why
You
is it
actually
murder to
got
kill a
me.
fetus but not murder to kill a zygote?
Because the fetus is at a later stage of development. It has a heartbeat.
Okay,
And-
we've already disputed the heartbeat point. You think it's not murder to pull the plug
I
on a brain
think-
patient
I
even though they
think
have a
a
heartbeat,
fetus is
and you think it
different
is murder to kill somebody that's in need of CPR even though they don't have a heartbeat. You've already demonstrated internal contradictions within your belief that having a heartbeat makes it murder to kill you.
Well, the person on the brain dead patient doesn't have a chance of life later on.
Ah, so if it's about a chance at life later on, then you would value the zygote and you would think it's murder because zygotes have a chance at life later on.
Because they're less developed than the person with the heartbeat.
Okay, so then it's about development. Well, I can merely argue that it's not murder to kill a fetus because they're less developed with a fetus with an ability to deploy sentience at 20 weeks.
Yeah, you could argue that, but I mean, I just think the earlier stage of development. I mean, zygote for sure.
Okay, why? Because I've been able to point out many internal contradictions within your criterion of development, that being a heartbeat, insofar as not giving us any reason to display or deploy any moral value. However, you've not given me any internal contradictions insofar as why we shouldn't value sentience.
Because
Mikey,
I
why are
think
you such a dense little piece of shit? I'm not kidding you. This is one of the most annoying, dishonest conversations I've ever had. I want to make this clear when I tell you that I have defeated and disproved your view that a heartbeat is morally relevant to you over 50 times. I want to make that clear. I've refuted, disproved, and shown contradictions in that view over 50 times.
I mean, yeah, you're definitely better at debating than me. I'm not disagreeing
So
with that.
if I've shown that view to be contradictory 50 times, why do you keep repeating it?
I just don't have a better contradiction that I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh, so you admit that your current view insofar as why you think abortion's wrong is contradictory, but you don't currently have a better one.
I mean, I don't have a better one like a lot of other people would. No. I'm not
Okay.
as-
Do you think that we should legislate
have a better
beliefs that are
argument.
contradictory?
Legislate beliefs that are contradictory?
Legislate on beliefs that are contradictory.
Not for every circumstance, no.
How about any circumstance?
No.
Okay. So you just admitted that you should not use your contradictory beliefs why you think abortion is wrong.
I'm going to use the word argument instead of contradictory. My fault. I don't have a better argument for it.
Yeah, but your current one is contradictory. You already admitted that, right?
About the zygote and the heartbeat? Well, no, because I think the fetus.
So
is,
you're telling me that you don't have a contradictory belief. Okay, I've told you what that contradictory belief is 5 times. The
I'm saying
contradictory
my
belief is you telling me that you value the heartbeat, and that's what makes you think it's murder to kill a fetus, but you don't think it's murder to kill a brain dead patient, even though they have a heartbeat, and you do think it's murder to kill somebody that needs CPR, even though they don't have a heartbeat. That's
think
a
a brain
contradictory
dead
belief.
person is a
That's a
different
contradiction
situation.
in your belief. Yes or no? Did I just point out 3 contradictions in your belief?
I don't think the brain dead thing's a contradiction because it's a completely different situation.
It is a contradiction because the only relevant factor is if they do or don't have a heartbeat, and if that makes you consider it murder or not. And then also, you told me that wasn't a contradiction. What about the other scenario? You think it is murder to kill somebody that does need CPR, even though they don't have a heartbeat, but they will in the future.
Well, they've already had a life, and they can keep living the life that they've already had.
It doesn't matter. They don't have a heartbeat.
I mean, it's a separate situation from a fetus, but like you should.
Oh,
save
so in other words, you won't admit a contradiction because you don't hold to principles. You just special plea for the context of a fetus. You say abortion wrong because abortion wrong. Nothing else matters. Fuck you. Leave my life. I'm not even joking. I'm not joking. Leave.
Okay, you know, my fault. My fault. I try to be as respectful as I can. You have a great.
No, you didn't, man. No, you didn't, man. Like, yeah, you're not gonna like shield, like just being like an illogical weasel by saying, "Oh, I'm trying to be respectful." You know, like there's more to like respect and or lack thereof than like just speaking in a calm demeanor and voice, not using curse words. There's like a significant amount of like other traits in which are like relevant to dictate if there is or is not respect present. And I mean, although you didn't cuss, although you didn't raise your voice, you did check off every other indicator of a lack of respect possible to exist. What is going on, Aesthetic? Do you support Trump?
I am going to say that I support his, I can't say him as a person, right? Right. But I'll say 1 or 2 of his policies.
Okay, so overall, do you think that the Trump administration is doing a better job than the Kamala Harris administration would have been if she won?
Okay, so are you debating people just based off of whether we like the presidential individual, like, or their policies that they may hold?
Well, if you like their impact on the country.
Okay, I think, well, okay, so I'll say policies because I can't say the individual because it would be no for Trump, right? I don't like his racism, right? So I can't say him as a person, but I'll say 1 or 2 of his policies. I would say the most profound policies he's used so far. I do believe that there's an argument that can be made that they were, let's say, beneficial, or if I'm using your words behind you, not terrible for America.
Okay, so you do or you don't support the presidency?
I'm saying policy-wise, I would say yes to the policy.
Okay, before you tell us why, I got a couple people to thank. Sid, thank you so much for the $100 donation over on YouTube Super Chat, saying, hi, I had the worst, most awful, chaotic day today, so thanks for always being a good part of it. Appreciate you always. Sid, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. And thank you so much for the $100 Super Chat over on YouTube. If everyone could please show some love to Sid in the chat. I love you, Sid. We all love you. I'm so sorry that you had a terrible day. Hopefully, you'll have a better evening. Ain't that right? Thank you so much for the love, Sid. And there's a bunch of other people that I'm going to thank. I'm just going to kind of segment it and thank y'all in different groups just because there's a lot, because I wasn't reading off anything in that last conversation. But take it away. Tell us why you support his policy.
Okay, so I want to be clear because, I mean, I might say this just because I have to be very clear. No, I've never voted for Trump. Okay? All of the times I voted for his opposition.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm discussing policy moves. Let's say the most substantial ones that have been discussed in his little to no time as in his second term. No, I do believe. Yeah. So this is not
to
support.
I'm not gonna lie. I typically kick people that say they didn't vote for him. They don't support him. But I'm just
but I do want to debate
because I'm really
on
curious on like what policies of his you like.
Okay, so I don't want you to. So I'm not going to talk as fast as you, but I do debate. That's what I went to school for.
Nice.
So I'm going to try to poke a hole in one of, let's say one or 2 of your arguments.
But can I just know which one of his policies you like real quick?
Don't say that I like it. Okay, I'll tell you what I think. Okay, that's a
Didn't-
thing in debate.
Wait. You told me that you like the policy. That's why you're here.
Let's say that I support that it will probably poke a hole in your understanding.
Okay, so now I'm confused. Do you or do you?
Let's
not
say
support
let's
Trump's
say
policy?
there's a policy
Oh,
that I do believe that you will, let's say, based on what I say to you,
Are you doing
will
like
poke a hole.
doing like a devil's advocate?
No.
Okay, so
no, I
there's-
actually
so there's genuine, real, authentic Trump policy that you like.
I don't want you to say that I like it. I'll say that you would. I'm gonna make you believe that you might, let's say, be wrong about something.
Okay, so you didn't come up here because you support Trump, because you support his
I
administration.
support one of his policies. So you
Okay,
said
what is
an
it?
impact on his.
What is the Trump policy
Okay,
you support? I'm sorry, I'm not doing this again after the last guess. I feel like I'm in like the
No.
same.
I heard. Yeah. I heard his
I've been-
last.
I've been
I'm gonna try
tortured
to
for
say it, but
hours.
I just don't want you to put words in my mouth. D.
I'm asking you a very clear question. You said
Not
you
the one that
support-
I like.
you
I'll
said-
tell you.
Just allow me
the
to finish
policy
speaking
that
without interrupting me, please. I asked you a very clear question.
Okay, I don't think which policy I like.
Please stop interrupting me. You told me that you like some Trump policy, that you support some Trump policy. What Trump policy do you support?
There's a policy that I do believe that will poke a hole in your argument.
What is the Trump policy you support?
Okay, that's it. That's all. Don't say whether I like it. Don't say whether I support it.
What you
Okay.
just said- you-
Don't say that. Don't say it.
You just
okay.
said,
No, I just said exactly what I wanted. There's a okay. Slow down. Don't freak. Okay. Don't freak. I know why you're freaking. The last person was annoying, and probably the person before that. Don't freak. The policy that I believe will poke a hole in your argument. Okay.
I've taken my headset off.
Okay, hold on. Don't. Okay. Breathe, Dean. Breathe. Okay. Chill out. It's okay. Let me state.
You are now on mute. When you unmute, you have 10 seconds to tell me the Trump policy you like. If you don't tell me the Trump policy you like in 10 seconds, I'm going to kick you. As soon as you accept that there we go. We're counting down.
His immigration policy, Dean. But don't be rude to me. Don't be rude. I don't favor that. I'm trying to actually debate you. So chill out.
Okay.
This is an actual debate. I'm actually trying to debate you.
I think
but chill out.
I think I'm quite calm. So why do you
Okay. I'm telling you, just breathe. Okay. So immigration.
Dude, this is
immigration, Dean, focus for me, please. Okay? I like you as a person, to be honest. I like your whole thing that you're doing. But immigration. Okay?
So why do you support Trump's immigration policy?
Okay. All right. So I want to say that it will poke a hole, or let's say expand upon. I think we need to have a conversation about not being too hardlined on certain topics, right? So in the immigration topic, where we say border patrolling, right? Because that's also in there. I believe that it wasn't a bad thing.
What is the Trump policy on immigration that you like?
Let's say closing the border.
That's not a policy. That's a political phrase that is meaningless.
Okay.
So
what would
what's
you
the
say?
policy?
What would you say is a policy about closing the border?
What about Trump immigration policy as a whole? Mass deportation.
Okay, that's what I said. I said the policy
mass deportation
that will.
is an example of his policy. Remain in Mexico policy is an example of his policy. The border wall is an example of his policy. So
Okay, I just said the border wall, border patrolling, border wall, immigration. I believe I said immigration
Here's the
policy.
issue. If you liked his wall, you shouldn't have voted for him. During his first term,
I didn't vote for him. I said that, right?
Sorry. I'm sorry. You're right. You did say that. I'm kicking you. And we're moving on to the next guest. Hello, do you support Trump?
Show do, brother.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
Goodbye. You got to be at least 18. I am going to rip all my hair out. Christina, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube super chat, and Dilos with the $10 as well. And then Bree, thank you for the $50 super chat over on YouTube, saying always a good time to see Dean Withers crash out. It's a terrible time for me. Will I be live tomorrow? You know it. I try to catch most streams, but my birthday dinner's tomorrow. Happy early birthday, Bree. Everybody, I want to see 500 W Breeze for the $50 donations and 500 happy early birthdays. Also, Bree with another $20. Thank you so much, Bree. And then Veteran with another 20. Thank you so much for the love, Veteran. Huge shout out to Veteran and Bree. Veteran says, consider donating to my local politicians, but I think Dean better represents a hopeful future. Keep winning. Veteran, dude, I want to meet Veteran. I want to talk to you, Veteran. I think you're awesome. Then Raven and Allison, thank you both for the $10. Thank you both so very much. That is incredibly kind. And then Stephanie, thank you for the $100 donation over on Venmo. Thank you for the love, Stephanie. Everybody, please show some love to Stephanie down below in that chat right now. Thank you so much, Stephanie, y'all. Let's get some massive Stephanie W's down below in the chat for the $100 donation of Venmo. Stephanie says, for the preservation of our collective brain cells, please kick this idiot. Stephanie, I got him out of there. That one's going to give me some trauma for some time now. Thank you for the love, Stephanie. Everyone show some love to Stephanie down below in that chat. And oh my God, Witch King with the Interstellar, bro. Adam. Everybody show some love to Adam down below in the chat for the Interstellar. Show some love to Adam. Show some love to Stephanie. Show some love to Veteran and Bree. I thank you all so much for the love, and I'm so sorry that I'm just getting around to these now. I didn't thank anybody in that last conversation. I do apologize. And then this was also from about an hour ago. I'm so sorry I'm just getting around to this now. But Haley, thank you for the 15 on Venmo. Colin with a 10. Thank you all so very much. And Dr. Marvel, do you support Trump?
Do I support Trump? No, but I voted for him.
Okay, well, I think that's awesome that you no longer support him, but I actually didn't kick you because you said you no longer support him. I kicked you because you're driving, and that violates TikTok TOS. What is going on, Matt? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Matt, tell us why. Well, I fix my hair.
His tariff policy.
Okay, so you think he's good for the American economy, ain't that right, Matt?
Yes.
Okay. I just kind of want to get a general sense of where you're at. Do you think that like his tariff policy is a larger net benefit than the net con of his fascism?
I don't think he's a fascist, but I think the tariff policy puts us on equal ground with other countries.
Like which ones?
Like the pharmaceutical thing he's pushing now with the American folks can pay the same amount of money.
Okay, so
he's paid for
his
drugs.
EO on pharmaceutical drugs has nothing to do with his tariffs. So the EO that he signed in about pharmaceutical drugs was literally just saying, "Hey, American pharmaceutical drug companies, would you please reduce your prices by 50 to 90%? I'd really appreciate it."
Okay.
You know, and if we want to see actionable change insofar as reducing the price of pharmaceutical drugs for American consumers, we have to do things such as implement restrictions like price caps, as Biden did with insulin, capping it to $30 per month. And we have to be very specific insofar as what the action should be. We can't just sign an EO into law saying, please do this.
Well, I agree with part of what you just said, yes.
Okay, well, that's like what the EO is about. So, like, apart from the EO, like, generally being ineffective at reducing the price of pharmaceutical drugs, unlike Biden, who effectively reduced the price of pharmaceutical drugs, and then the policy that Kamala Harris ran on to limit the amount that any American citizen would be paying out of pocket for pharmaceuticals to $2,000 per year, it just had nothing to do with his tariffs, which you claimed it did.
Huh. And also his tariffs, you don't think the deal we just struck with China is a good deal?
I think credit where credit's due. It's pretty cool that we've now reduced tariffs in between trade of China and America. But I still don't think that was achieved in the right way. I would say like a quarter of negative GDP growth and pretty quick drops in the American markets and us barreling towards a recession and the Fed's like not cutting rates is probably a greater con than like China reducing their effective tariffs on us by 20%.
I just think that other countries will follow lead with China because China is our biggest trade partner.
That's not true.
How is that not true?
There are bigger trade partners than China, specifically Mexico and Canada.
Well, yeah. And but I think they will follow suit with China.
Why not Mexico and Canada?
I just said I think they will follow suit with China.
Yeah, why wouldn't they follow suit with our larger trade partners, Mexico and Canada?
No, I'm saying Canada and Mexico will follow suit with China.
Well, now I don't understand what you're saying, because you're saying that other countries will follow suit because they're our biggest trade partner, but now you're saying that even the bigger trade partners will follow suit.
That's why, is because there are bigger trade partners.
Okay, now I don't. Let's restart. Why do you support Trump? What the fuck is being said? This live is something else today, man. You have good days, you have bad days. What can you do?
Do you just argue to argue?
No, I argue to seek truth and to hopefully have this value of critical thought upheld to a higher standard by all Americans.
So you don't think Canada and Mexico will follow suit with China, who we import more goods from?
So we import more goods from Canada and Mexico?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Look it up.
If you're talking about like car manufacturer shit, that is our companies that are importing from Canada and Mexico. That's a different story.
I'll look it up for you. Great. Yep. So in 2023, we imported $475 billion worth of goods from Mexico, and $427 billion worth of goods from China.
That are owned by American companies, correct?
That are owned by American companies. So all
Yeah,
the
because
goods,
it's car manufacturers.
all the goods that we import are sold to American companies.
Most of our imports are vehicles from Mexico and Canada.
So we get a lot of vehicles from Mexico and Canada. That's right.
That are American companies.
Okay. All right. And I mean, maybe, I don't know. I think that most of our
That's
imports
what
from
it is.
Canada are oil and gas.
No, oil, it's unrefined oil and gas. We refine it and then resell it to them.
What does this have to do with the original claim?
I just said it. It's if we're importing things that are owned by America or that America resells to those countries, why does that count towards it? You're talking about gross and not net.
Because it's an import from another country.
And then we
Erica, thank you so much for the $20 over in Venmo. I appreciate you so
and
much.
then we
Thank you
export
so
it.
much for the love. So sometimes,
Or it's an American company owned.
So sometimes companies can import goods and export them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what?
That's what I'm saying.
We still import more from these countries.
You're talking exactly
than we do from Canada. Sorry, from China.
But most of the things we import from Canada and Mexico are for our vehicles, which are companies owned by American citizens, American companies, or it's unrefined oil and gas that we export back to Canada.
So the largest, actually, so you said that most of the things that we import are vehicles. That's not true.
What is it?
That claim is false.
Okay, what is it?
The largest one is minerals, fuels, oils, and distillation products. The second largest one is vehicles. However, the third, fourth, fifth, etc. largest ones total more than vehicles. Like, let's see here. In fact,
so you're combining the
vehicles
third,
in 2024,
fourth, and fifth?
500 divided by 421. 500 divided by 421. Vehicles only accounted for 11% of our imports from Canada last year.
So what's the thing that's most imported from Canada then?
Let's look. It looks like oil, mineral, fuels,
Unrefined
etc.
oil
is 1
that
31
we
divided by
resell to Canada.
432. That accounts for 30% of our imports from Canada.
Unrefined oil that we resell to Canada.
Okay. So it looks like, yeah, we do that with some of the oil
Yeah.
that we import. Why is this
Mhm.
relevant?
It's relevant because if the tariff if we have equal tariffs.
Okay, can you just guide me through?
When we export
top to bottom.
Okay, I'm trying to. If we import,
I'm
and
still
they
just
have a
confused why this is
higher,
relevant.
if they have a higher tariff on us, and then when we export, it's a lower tariff, we're losing money as American citizens.
So we don't get charged for the oil that we export to Canada. Is that it?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, so you're wrong and I'm right.
No.
So Canada does not have an oil tariff on America, and they've never had an oil tariff on America.
Do they have a refined oil tariff on America?
No.
Because refined and unrefined is two different things.
They don't.
So when they export oil to us, there is no tariff on us.
Well, actually, when they export oil to us, yes, they do pay a tariff, or at least like they did when Donald Trump implemented the Liberation Day tariffs. But now they're on pause.
The importer is who pays the tariff, not the exporter.
Right.
Yeah.
You just asked me if there's a tariff paid on the export. I didn't specify who it was paid by.
I asked if we pay the tariff.
If we pay what tariff?
I'm gonna kick myself because you're not making sense. So
Matt, correct me where I'm wrong. Canada does not charge a tariff on the oil we export to them.
No.
Oh, that's wrong?
No, I'm saying there's a tariff on what we import that we pay for.
So like you're saying that we have a tariff on them, but they don't have a tariff on us.
Oh my God, dude.
Right? That's what you're saying? So the UF is tariffing Canada, but Canada's not tariffing the US. Okay. All right. What is going on today? Like, what the fuck is going on today? I might like end my stream early. I'm unfortunately like not even like trolling chat. Like I'm not even trolling. I think I may end early. Kay, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal. I appreciate you for the love. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
No, but my girlfriend's birthday's tomorrow. What's your happy birthday?
What's her name?
Saylin.
Happy birthday, Saylin. Shout out Saylin. Oh, wait. Guys, what's her name? I was saying Saylin, but I feel like he corrected me there, indicating to me that I was wrong. Y'all got to help me. Shaylin. Happy birthday, Shaylin. I just saw his chat. Happy birthday, Shaylin. Big up to Shaylin. Okay. Happy birthday, Shaylin. Happy early birthday, Shaylin. Shaylin. He corrected it in the chat. Happy birthday, Shaylin. Happy birthday, quite frankly. Quite frankly, hello. Do you support Trump? Oh, it's you. It's been a while, man. You're back. Not paleo. Maybe I just want to torture myself today. I'm just kidding. Goodbye. Steven. Oh, Steven. Steven really likes hanging out in here. Let me tell you. Steven loves hanging out in here. If you're watching and you want to come up and have a debate, go ahead and drop a MAGA down below in that chat and we'll get you up here. Hello, BB. Do you support Trump? Not here. Where's the MAGA at? Where are they at? Let's go to get KO up on the live. KO's not here. Where's out of the Trump supporters? Let's get Catherine up in the live. Let's get Jay up in the live. Let's get Jordan up in the live. Let's get them all up in the live. All of the Trump supporters, not you, aesthetic. Goodbye. Hello, Jay. Do you support Trump?
Hi, I do. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. Donnie, do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
I am 18.
Born in what year?
2006.
What month?
April.
April, May, June, July. You would be 19. You got it wrong again, Donnie.
No.
Jay, take it away. Tell us why you support Trump.
I just support some of the new way of running the government, kind of a more lean and more stricter side to it.
By lean, you mean consolidating power to one branch?
That's one way of looking at it. I can
Oh
understand
no!
your perspective.
One way
for
of
sure.
looking at it is a fascist dictatorial regime. Uh-oh.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to jump straight into jabbing at one another. Let's just keep an open mind and a perspective to different views. I'd like to just say that the government has ballooned into something uncontrollable. I don't know if you see it that way, but I live in California, and the level of government involvement in everyday life is kind of ballooned out of control.
So you don't like a ballooned, uncontrollable government? Donald Trump won't even listen to the
No,
Supreme Court. Is it fair to call him uncontrollable?
No. I wouldn't say I don't like government involvement, but the level of government and the way it's scrutinizing its everyday citizens, where I live in particular, California, is out of control. It has become a taxing to death.
Oh, like
mechanism.
ICE detaining U.S. citizens, like Hassan, like Chris,
ICE
like everyday
detaining
citizens.
ICE detaining U.S. citizens. I'm not familiar with that. I'm sorry.
Hassan Biker. He was detained by ICE
Who
in an airport.
who is he?
The largest political streamer alive.
And he was born in the United States.
Yeah.
And he was detained for what?
Suspected of being an undocumented migrant by ICE.
Okay, so he was detained for being suspected of being an undocumented member of society, is what you're saying, right?
Yep.
So when they confirm that he is a U.S. citizen, they will eventually let him go, right?
Yeah. No, they did let him go. He's back to streaming. But I definitely think that this is a government overreach into the day-to-day life of American citizens. How can you deny that?
So we can agree that they just confirmed that he was a citizen and they released him, right? So
after asking a bunch of very political questions about himself.
yeah, I mean, and that's what they're entitled to do, though. They're entitled to ask questions. I mean, if they're arresting,
I think that this is obvious profiling. B, they detained and questioned him about his political views.
Okay,
and then
all
C,
right, so-
you were just arguing that like you don't want government intervention in your life. Okay, that is an obvious reach of government intervention.
Okay, when I'm saying government overreach in my life, I'm talking about everyday small business regulation, things of that nature. You know what I mean? Like I said,
so if it doesn't impact you, you don't care.
no, I do care. Obviously,
Do you
It's
think that
just
reducing the effective purchasing power of every American making under $395,000 per year, while also ballooning federal expenditure, is government overreach?
Well, can you repeat that one more time?
Do you think reducing the purchasing power of every American making under $395,000 per year, ballooning government expenditure, and allowing states to legislate on a woman's access to health care, is that government overreach?
No, I believe that's first to answer the women's rights, giving that back to the states. That's giving it back to the people of those states to dictate how they want to live in their states, which was how
But
it needs
that
to go.
puts more power into the hands of the government.
No, it gives more power to the people because now the people get to vote on that,
Okay,
right? Because the power is
which
to
side of the
state.
Civil War gave more power to the people, the North or the South?
The North.
Oh, but it was the North who wanted to federally protect against giving the power to the people to legislate on
Well,
slavery.
if you're gonna go down that far into the rabbit hole, it was the Democrats who fought to keep slavery.
And if you're going to go that down far into the rabbit hole, what
mean,
was the
let's be
difference-
honest, all right?
What did the Republican Party stand for at the time, who fought against slavery?
Well, I mean, that's totally debatable. But
No,
there
it's
were
actually not at all. They were a progressive party. And I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Is the Republican Party progressive today?
Absolutely, yes, they're very progressive.
They're
I mean,
self-defined as conservative. Where do you think the word conservative comes from?
yes, but their progression is in a conservative matter. Their progression is in a very conservative matter. If you haven't noticed,
Sir, are you a conservative?
I used to be a diehard Democrat, yes, but now I am.
Wait, so
leaning
you
more.
think that Democrats are conservatives and liberals are Republicans?
No, I believe that Democrats are so far gone.
So
that
no,
I
that's
don't-
not what
I don't
I'm
even
just getting
recognize them.
incredibly clear. Who flies the Confederate flag today?
Who flies the Confederate flag today? I would say most people in the South do. Yes.
And how do most people in the South vote?
They vote more Republican.
Ah.
But that doesn't define the whole Republican Party, because I'm a Republican in California, and I don't fly a conservative flag.
You just called the Confederate flag the conservative flag. You unironically just identified the Confederate flag as a symbol of the Republican Party.
No, I didn't. I reassured you that I understand where
No,
you're going.
you literally
with
just
this.
called the Confederate flag the conservative flag. You just called the
No,
Confederate flag the flag of the conservative party.
No, sir. No, sir. I didn't.
Yes,
asked
you
me a
did.
series
You just
of
called it the
questions.
conservative flag.
Yeah, but you asked me a question and I answered it. I'm not saying that
You
the
just got
Republican
yourself.
Party.
You just defined the Confederacy as
Yeah, but
indicative
I
of
mean,
the symbol of the entire conservative party.
Yes, and I get that, but because the Confederates don't even agree with Democrats, and they were Democrats, so it's crazy.
Yeah, once again, it's
right?
because we had a party switch. Also, I don't know if the Democrat Party existed at the time of the
Okay,
Civil
so
War.
let me
It
ask
no,
you this.
actually, you don't want to.
Hang
You
on,
don't. You
hang
don't
on.
want to learn nuance about history, bud.
No. I just want to ask.
So
you
I'm
some
gonna give you
questions.
nuance about history, bud. Are you
Okay,
ready?
let's listen to it. Let's go. Let's
So
do
I'm
it.
actually not
Come on.
sure that the Democratic Party existed at the time of slavery, at the time of American slavery. If it did,
Oh no, it most certainly did, and they supported keeping slavery.
well, I think it might have been the Whigs or like the preamble for the Democrat Party. But nonetheless, let's assume that
They
the
were
Democrat
Democrats,
Party
so they were
did
Democrats.
exist.
They
Well,
were.
did the
They were
Democrat
for-
Party stand for progression or progressivism or conservatism?
The Democratic Party standed for holding slavery.
That's not what I asked. Did they stand for conservatism of traditional values or progression or progressivism of new values?
I can't answer for that. I wasn't living back then.
I can't answer for that because I know history. They stood for the conservatism of traditional values. So when you tell me that there was this conservative party back in the day and they defended slavery, well, who's the conservative party now? The Republicans.
Well, would you agree with that? Not being conservative isn't all the same. Can you agree with me on that? Like, can you believe that being conservative in one way and being conservative in another way does exist? Can we both agree on that?
All conservative ideologies are right of the political compass. They're right-leaning Republican.
Wow. So you're
red
really
ideologies.
so you're really trying to tell me that everything is one way and everything is the other way. There is no.
Inherently speaking, all conservative values would fall to the right of the political
So
spectrum.
so are you calling me as a conservative? Me identifying as a conservative as
You're
a
right-leaning, yeah.
as a racist and as a diabolical person? Would you call
No,
me that?
Seemingly, you're identifying yourself that way. I just shared with you historical fact. Literally, all I
No,
said
no,
was that
no,
there was a
you're
party
saying
switch,
that
and at the time, the Democrat Party. Sir,
you're
Jay, are
saying
you gonna
the
listen to me?
conservative-
Are you gonna
No,
fucking
you're
listen to
saying
me?
that-
Like,
No,
I'm sharing history with you, and you're being like a really like annoying person in response to it.
Listen,
No,
listen,
you're gonna
let's
listen to me.
not
I'm gonna
go
forcefully put you on
insulting
mute.
each other.
No, I'm gonna insult the fuck out of you because you're trying to strawman the fuck out of me. You said that it was
What?
Democrats that defended slavery. Then I shared
Yes,
like
they did.
Jay. Then I shared
They
history.
did.
Then I shared history with you. There's a
Yes.
party switch. My evidence of the party flip was at the time Democrats were conservatives and Republicans were progressives. Okay.
Yes.
Republicans are today self-identified as conservatives. Democrats today are self-identified as progressives. So if
Okay.
you want to track the ideas, the
Okay.
ideological underpinning truths of
Okay.
of political movements, it
Okay.
is the case that the Republican Party upholds ideas that are that are related to a closer degree to the ideas upheld by the Democrats who defended slavery.
So would you say that all conservatives in your book and in your ideology, we are all racist and we are all Confederates, or we are all just this bad group of people? Would you say that?
Nope, not all racists. All okay with racism if you voted for Trump, though.
I did vote for Trump, yes,
Yeah,
twice.
so,
So I'm a racist with your ideology?
So I mean, I don't think I know enough about you yet to call you racist.
Well,
I do know enough
ask me
about
some
you.
questions.
I do
Like,
know enough about you to say that you're okay with racism.
How would you come up with that? My wife is half black.
So don't tokenize your wife, and second of all, it's because you support Trump and Trump is racist.
My wife supports Trump and she's half black.
Okay, well, it's no longer.
Okay,
racism,
so
it's,
that just destroyed your whole argument, and you seem like a fucking moron now. One and two,
Wait,
my
wait,
good
do
sir.
you think that do you think that white people saying the N-word is racist?
Do I think that white people saying the N-word are racist? What does that have to do with anything?
I'll show you.
What does that have to do with anything? We're talking
I'll show
about
you.
you
Show me.
calling me a racist because I voted for Trump.
So don't straw man my position. I said that you're
It's
okay with
crazy.
racism, and now answer my
That's
question.
just crazy. That is
The only
absolutely
thing crazy is that the fact
outlandish.
that you're fucking freaking your shit. Now answer my question. Do you
I'm
think
not
that,
freaking my shit.
do you-
It's just crazy how
do you think
how
that
you
white people
go
saying
for-
the N-word is racist? I'll demonstrate to you
That's
relevance.
totally irrelevant.
It's
to our
not irrelevant at
conversation.
all.
Yes, it is. It's totally
When
irrelevant.
you
It
answer the
is
question, I will
totally-
demonstrate its relevance.
No, I'm gonna ask you another
Okay,
question.
no, I'm gonna have you answer my question. If you don't, I'm gonna
No.
assume your answer.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Jay, you're now on mute. Nobody watching the live can hear you. I'm gonna assume that you do think it's racist for white people to say the N-word, unless you correct me in the next 20 seconds. Let's get you unmuted. So I'm gonna assume that you think it's racist, unless you correct me in the next 20 seconds.
Do I think it's racist for someone to call someone the N-word?
Yeah, white people saying the N-word. You have 10 more
No,
seconds to
I
correct
don't.
me.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't think it's racist. No.
Okay, so
I
you're
don't think it's
definitely racist now.
So okay, thank you. So now that we got past that, I'm a racist.
I guess I wasn't expecting that. I guess I really wasn't expecting that at all. Where do I go from here? Oh, I have another example. I'm sorry. Like now I gotta like ramp it up. Unmute, Jay. I have another question because I still want to try to demonstrate this point. Do you think that like, calling all black women lazy and entitled is racist?
Once again, you're asking a perspective, dude. That's not up to me to answer that. You know what I
From your
mean?
perspective, is calling all black women lazy and entitled because they're black women racist?
Once again, that's just a figure of opinion. It's not racist, dude. That's just a figure.
What the fuck, dude? Okay,
Yeah.
leave. You don't think it's
Yes.
racist to call all black women lazy and entitled because they're black women?
No, because there's plenty
Put your
of
wife on the mic. Put your wife on the mic.
There's plenty of women.
Put your fucking wife on the mic.
There's plenty of black women.
Put
who
your
work
shut the
really
hell
hard.
up. Shut the hell up. Put your wife on the mic.
I don't have to bring my wife to
Go
talk to a
ask your
little
wife how she
simp.
feels about your belief that it's not racist to call all
Dude,
black women lazy and entitled because they're black women.
Me and my wife have gone over the fact that if a white person calls a person the N-word, I don't think that's racist. I think that's a white person.
So I think that
being really
that
dumb.
you need to tell her your newest perspective, that you don't think it's racist to call all black women lazy and entitled because they're black women.
I would never even go down that route. Because what another black woman does is her business. It is not mine, okay? If she wants to stay at home and feed off the government and do that's
Okay, I'm not even gonna let you talk. I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm not even gonna let you perpetuate your bullshit. I want you to either affirm or deny. One last chance. Is a racist stereotype saying that every single black woman is lazy and entitled, okay, because they're black women? Is that stereotype racist? Unmute, Jay. Dude, what is going on with the guest today? Like literally, like what the fuck is going on with the guest today? Are you too lazy to find that mute button, white man? Kind of mute that mic because you're too lazy, Mr. White Man. There you go. So is
hello.
that stereotype racist?
Yeah, yes, I could say like, yeah, if you're gonna go and bunch all those people together, yes, that is fucked up. Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
is
say,
it racist?
yeah, I would say that is fucking racist.
Okay, why did you say no earlier?
To what?
Earlier you said it's not racist to call all black women lazy and entitled.
I mean, because it's just a fucking mentality, dude. It's like you can't control how people think.
What
Like,
is racism?
For me, a form of racism is
No, I don't want it. I want you to define the word racism.
Racism for me is like walk into a grocery store and someone telling you because of the color of your skin you can't shop there.
Okay,
Or if you walk
that's
into a
an
restaurant-
example of racism. Now define racism.
Or or killing or bringing harm upon
Those are
people.
all examples. Define it.
Define racism is hating a group of people because of how they were born. That's racism
Okay,
for
would
me.
you say that the word hate there can be applied? However, we could also use the word disparage or hold prejudice against or cause harm to.
Yeah, of course you could. Yeah.
Okay, so this is one reason why a white person saying the N-word is racist, because the N-word was historically used to dehumanize, systemically dehumanize black individuals
Yeah.
in America to
Now-
justify their enslavement, to justify their rape, to justify their slaughter, to justify treating them as if they were subhuman. It was one tool out of a nation-wide large toolbox that was used to target, disparage, and kill, force, enslave, rape, etc. black individuals. So the
Now,
reason why I think it's racist for a white individual to use the N-word is because of the system in which that word has been used historically to further disparage black individuals and is still used today to further disparage black individuals.
I get that, but I mean, what I'm trying to say is a word when I gave you examples of racism that affects somebody's life. Now, I don't
The use of the N-word affects people's lives.
Yeah, I don't see like and I have tons of black friends, and if you
I'd
call
stop
it-
fucking talking about that, dude. That's so cringe. Oh, I get to do whatever I want. Oh, I get to treat black people like shit. And at the end of the day, I'll never be racist because guess what? There's a few black people that I consider to be my friends. I get to say whatever I want. I get to say the N-word because guess what? I have some friends that are black. Dude, it's called tokenization. It's so
I don't say the
cringe.
I don't say the N-word to them. So let's just clarify that right now.
To them?
Yeah.
Oh, what about at all?
No, I don't use that word.
I'm kicking him just because I want a normal person to debate, and we're just simply not getting that today. Hello, Victor. Do you support Trump?
Yeah, I actually do to a point.
Great. 1 second. Sid, thank you for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Let's get 500 Sid W's. Thank you so much. Seriously, Sid. I love you. Sid says, can I beg you not to end early today? I'll literally steal my dad's phone to block Charlie Kirk. No, you don't got to do that. Yeah, we'll be on for all 4 hours of the stream. But like, dude, today's stream is just terrible. Like, these guys fucking suck, dude. I'm perpetually perplexed by how crazy the guests are today. Hey, Victor. So why do you support Trump?
Honestly, man, I just, I support him for like when I voted this year, it was very different than like voting every other election. Look, I consider myself a Republican. I don't agree with Trump and the way he handles certain situations. I'll admit that. Like, he has a really crappy way about, going about things. But what I will say is like, I think the reason why he won is like so much people want change, and I've had this discussion with my friends, and it's just like, I think a lot of people are just tired, like, of the general sense of direction that America is going in. Like, I do feel like we're so divided, and it's not just based off like Democrats and Republicans, but I just think like the beautiful thing about America is also the worst thing about America.
I have a question. What divides America more, fascism or a woman?
You know what? Man, I'll say fascism,
This reminds me of that, like, what's happening right now, like gaining consciousness in this moment, reminds me of that one Logan Paul clip where he's like, I don't want to sound like a woke liberal, but dude, women have it hard. Anyways. So you're right, Victor. Fascism is going to divide America more than a woman would. Spot on. Why do I say this? Because if you're concerned about the division we've seen in America historically, last couple of years since 2016, which oddly aligned with Trump's first run for presidency, we don't even need to go there because moving forward, seemingly we could agree that Donald Trump and his fascist regime is more divisive for Americans than Kamala Harris would have been.
Right. So my thing is this, like, is it dividing us? For sure. But like, let's just take Trump out of the equation, right? Like, let's just say Trump was out of the equation. This is my opinion, right? the thing that makes America so beautiful is also the thing that like it's kind of like what like it's also what's so negative about it, right? Like when you have so many different cultures and religions and like different people, and and they're all invited to this country, right? We're also
Donald Trump actually advocated for a ban on all new Muslims coming into America in 2015. And he ended up banning all people from like 12 distinct countries that were that a Muslim majority, because it was ruled that a total ban on all new Muslims coming in was unconstitutional. So if diversity is the strength of this country,
but can we
Donald
say
Trump's attack on diversity is a grave weakness.
Right, right. And look, I'm all for diversity, right? I mean, look, man, I'm a Hispanic man. You know what I'm saying? I live in LA. So, you know, if you've ever been here in LA, you know that there's a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different religions, a bunch of different people of different colors. But what I will say is this, like, you can't have, you know, to extent, can we say this? Like, you think if you go to a Muslim country, and again, if I'm being, if I sound a little, what's the word here? If I don't want to come off as racist or anything, but like, you can't be a Christian in a Muslim nation. You know what I'm saying?
Like, apparently you can't be a Muslim in a Christian nation, according to Trump.
Right. I agree. No. And it's tough because, like,
also,
you know,
you could totally. I just want to point it out there. You could totally be Christian in like quote unquote Muslim nations, like for example, Palestine. In Palestine, there's like Christian churches. Which,
right.
Funny enough, the non-Muslim nation of Israel has been attacking and burning down.
Yeah, but you know, going back to what you just said, yeah, you can, but
also,
you know,
also Lebanon, hello.
Right, but look, what I'm saying
Syria?
is
Syria, hello.
You can live in these countries as a Christian, right?
You could practice in these countries as a Christian. You could worship in a Christian church in these countries as a Christian.
Right, but to say that there's not going to be some sort of diversity in like, and we're not just talking about Muslims. Like, look, I have nothing.
Turkey.
Right, I have nothing wrong to say. Like, I love gay people. I have nothing against them. But like,
where the fuck is this coming from? Oh no, continue.
No, what I'm just trying to say is like the diversity aspect of it is like, you know, you can't. Catholics don't really accept, you know, these types, you know, certain types of people because it's against their religion.
Say it. Catholics don't accept gay people.
Well,
there you go.
We'll call it what it is. I mean, I have no issue with it. But yeah, gay people, you know this. I mean, you seem like an educated person, right? So it's going back to the whole point of what I'm trying to say, which is like, the beauty of America is that it's so diverse, but it's also like its weakness, you know? And I know we're going off a little off topic. So let me just kind of tell you why I support Trump, you know? I don't support all his policies. I don't support the way he goes about certain things, but like, I do think it's important to like put America first to some extent, because like, I do feel like it's been going downhill. For you to say like our educational system hasn't been going downhill, for you to say that like we don't rely too much on like, you know, on China to get all our products, you know, most of the stuff I bought is from China, you know? I think most of the stuff that's in your house and maybe even like the mics and stuff that you're using are probably made in China, you know? I like that he's trying to bring manufacturing back here. And I like that, you know, he's trying to like...
Actually, unironically, he's not going to bring manufacturing back here at all. He's actually going to outsource more manufacturing to overseas.
Are you talking about the recent tariff thing?
All of his tariffs like have been used as a tool to negotiate better trade agreements with other countries, and he's made this very clear. So the inevitable result is like lower barriers and restrictions on trade between America and other countries, which means more production will be done overseas.
Like, for instance, the deal that got announced today, right?
Yeah, exactly. We will now import more goods from China because it is the case that we have lower tariffs on China and they have lower tariffs on us. Yep.
Okay, but do you think that this deal is better than the deal that's been brokered, say, years ago?
Yeah, the last time we brokered a deal was Trump with his tariffs on China. Biden-Harris administration kept them, so better than the other thing Trump did for sure. It's actually the opposite. And yeah, I agree. But you should disagree because it outsources more manufacturing.
Right, but look, if we were gonna do it anyway,
Like the inevitable conclusion of like his dealing with China is actually like decent. China reduced their tariffs from like 30 to 10, and I think we are also sitting at 10. No, from 50 to 20, then we went down to 10 or something like that. And I think that result is good. I don't think that the means to achieve said result justify the outcome. But also, like these should all be things that you don't like because you said that you want more manufacturing in America because of tariffs. Well, Donald Trump has been using these tariffs to achieve better trade agreements, to reduce barriers on trade. So we're actually not going to be forcing more manufacturing inside of America.
Okay, that's valid, and I agree. My thing is like, say there wasn't a deal brokered with China, the point would be to bring manufacturing back, like whether it's automotive.
It's not going to do that once again because we are reducing our tariffs on other countries. So stop it.
Right. So again, it's not happening. I agree with you.
So then, what do you like about the Trump administration that is happening?
Okay, let's see. Actually, I kind of have a list. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, for sure. Take a look. I need to know. For the 2.1 thousand people in the YouTube, 5.2 thousand people in the TikTok, is it me? Because I feel like everybody I've talked to today has been significantly worse than people that I've spoken to on other days. Is it just me feeling that way? Am I just having a bad day? Am I hungry? It's not me. It's them.
Okay, so yeah, no, it's I don't know, man. I just joined the chat, so maybe you are hungry.
Maybe I am hungry. So what do you like about the Trump admin, sir?
So look, I'm not for open borders. I'm an American citizen. I think last I read, which was like maybe a month ago, the border crossings have like dropped significantly, almost 95%.
A little bit over that. A little bit over that for sure.
I'm all for people coming into this country legally.
So I can tell you why that's a bad thing, or at least what caused it and why it's bad. So the reason that we've seen a dramatic decrease in the amount of migration into America, undocumented migration specifically, is not because of a long-term solution. So like what causes like the root cause of undocumented entry is like slow.
And real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt. Someone just said your comments. Someone in the comments says that we've never had open borders. Yes, guys, we've never had open borders, but we've never really put emphasis on securing them the same way that this administration is doing. Can we say that?
No, they're not securing the borders.
Okay. So Trump sending the military out when he first got when he first became president for his second term, that wasn't securing the border.
What do you think it means to Can I finish out? Yeah, hey, ahead, Victor, go ahead. I'm about to be mean to you. The reason I'm about to be mean to you is because you've been talking for 5 minutes, okay? Then you finally make a claim that you like his stance on immigration and in the decline of undocumented entry into America. I start responding to that, and then you interrupt me, you derail, and then you ask me a new question.
Again, go ahead, make your point. So my fault for cutting you off, man. Go ahead.
What is the root cause of undocumented entry into America?
I would say illegal border smuggling, like human trafficking.
But like human trafficking is not the root cause
Not
of
human
undocumented
trafficking,
entry
but
into America.
illegal.
So what is the ultimate reason individuals decide to enter into America illegally compared to legally?
The fact that the process to get in is a lot harder. It's tough.
Boom! Spot on. Right on the money. You're right. The root cause of undocumented entry is that the legal means of entry into America are unattainable as they take too long or they're too expensive, etc. So in other words, the only way to reduce undocumented entry into America in the long term is to make the processes of legal entry into America better now. Donald Trump isn't doing that. The way he's reducing undocumented migration into America is through short-term solutions and scare tactics, like not giving undocumented migrants constitutional rights, calling them all lunatic, illegal aliens, which has led to surges and rates of hate crimes against them, and illegal deportations. Okay? So in other words, everything he's doing, I don't care about its impact because it's not long-term, it's not sustainable, and quite frankly, it's very immoral. And illegal.
Right. So let me ask you something. You think that if we just made it easy first off, let me say that the registration or to apply for citizenship, should that program, whatever that process is, should be fixed. I agree with that. Okay. But if you also make it so easy that everybody gets in, I mean, everybody would get in. So yeah, you're right. Illegal border crossings would decrease. And
sorry, Victor, I'm cutting you off. I'm really sorry, man. Paleo Steve.
Oh, I'm amazed you actually let me come back up here.
I just have one question, and I'm going to go back to Victor. In the chat, you said that undocumented migrants don't have constitutional protections. Tell me why the Supreme Court...
They do not have full constitutional rights. No, they do not.
Oh, so now you've changed
They are not
your claim.
They are not legal citizens.
Now you've
They are
changed
not
your
legal
claim.
citizens.
So if undocumented
No.
migrants don't have constitutional protections, why did the Supreme Court rule that Abrigo Garcia's deportation was illegal? I thought he didn't have any protections under the law. Why would what they did to him be
That's
illegal?
funny. I don't remember. I don't remember the Supreme Court ruling that. I remember the Supreme Court ruling that. Oh, really? I remember the Supreme Court ruling that they had to make preparations to invite him to come back, but they don't have to let him come back in from his own government
I'm going to
where
quote
he's
you.
from.
I'm going to quote you. I'm going to quote the Supreme Court's decision, word for word, from their website. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Quote, the United States acknowledges that Abrigo Garcia was subject to withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal, end quote.
Where did you get that source from?
From the Supreme Court.
What source did you get that from?
From their ruling on the matter on April 10th.
Yeah, what source did you look that up from? Who gave that information?
Chief Justice John Roberts, and the decision ruled on April 10th coming from the Supreme Court.
No illegal has constitutional rights other than the right to be heard in a courtroom.
So then why did
for their reason to be expunged from the United States?
So then why
they have very few rights.
So then why did the Supreme Court rule his deportation was illegal?
I look.
You're broken.
His no.
Yeah.
His deportation was legal because he is not an American citizen. First off.
So
secondly,
does any court trump the Supreme Court?
No.
Does the Supreme Court make the ultimate and final interpretation of American law?
The Supreme Court is constitutional law.
Right. And the Supreme Court said...
But in some cases, the Supreme Court will not hear a case and let it go back to the states.
Spot on. But they did hear this one, and they ruled, quote unquote, that Abrigo Garcia's removal to El Salvador was illegal, end quote.
And they said that that the Trump administration must facilitate. All facilitate means is if we would like to facilitate him to come back, you would let him come back.
Hey, Steve, we're not even talking about that right now.
The president of El Salvador said, we're not bringing him back.
Hey, Steve, we're not even talking about that. We're talking about the fact that you said his deportation was not illegal, and I'm pointing out the fact that the Supreme Court said it was illegal.
No, I said, no, you're putting words into my mouth. And no, that's not what I said.
Kat, how do we feel about this?
I said illegals do not have constitutional rights as afforded by American citizens.
So you actually did say precisely that his deportation to El Salvador was legal. Your words exactly.
It was legal.
Ah, you've said it again.
How is it not legal?
Okay, everybody, don't forget that he just said it again. It was illegal.
How is it he was not legal because they followed Tom Holman followed the law.
So they
deported him because Trump. You didn't let me finish because Trump said Tren de Aragua and MS-13 are terrorist organizations.
So do you typically discount Supreme Court rulings as it determines the legality of things? Because once again,
it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court ruled because the government of Venezuela is not the United States.
Hey, Paleo
if
Steve,
they don't want to give him back, they don't have to.
Did you just say that Supreme Court rulings don't matter insofar as determining if something is legal or illegal in America?
I said it doesn't matter in other countries. The Supreme Court only matters to the United States.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's not affordable to Argentina
can we agree,
or to Venezuela or South America. Can we agree
that the Supreme Court ruled that Abrigo Garcia's being deported to El Salvador was ruled as illegal in the United States?
That's irrelevant.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, because you said
If
it was
if
legal.
it wasn't irrelevant, then he would be back in the United States.
No, it's relevant because you made the claim that it was legal. I'm making the claim
What
that
Tom
it is
Homan
illegal.
did at the time of him being deported, what Tom Homan and the Trump administration did was perfectly legal, and
actually,
that was before
not true.
the Supreme Court got involved.
Supreme Court,
and it was before the lower court's injunctions.
Supreme Court.
So at that time, yes, it was legal. So yes, I am right.
So actually, the way that rulings from courts work is they're retroactive and apply to the circumstances that are being legislated on. I'll give you an example.
That's your
Are you
interpretation.
ready? No.
That's like saying
no.
That's like curing a common cold with a bullet.
Are you ready? I could give you an example.
You can give me examples all day long. It still doesn't matter. He was deported before the Supreme Court ever made a ruling. So it was legal. Tom Homan was perfectly within his rights.
Do you know what
the borders are to deport him? He was an enemy of the state.
Do you know what the Brown v. Board decision was?
No, and I don't care because it's not got anything to do with what I said.
It does.
You're using
the Brown v.
You're
Board,
doing what you always do. You use hypotheticals to suit your needs. You got cue cards and you go by those.
This isn't hypothetical.
And you've got a certain routine of questioning.
Okay.
That's how you work.
So the Brown v. Board court decision was the court decision made that ruled racial segregation in the schooling system is illegal and unconstitutional. Okay? When this ruling was made, did that mean that racial segregation in the schooling system forth from that ruling was illegal? Or did it also rule that all racial segregation that had occurred before that ruling was also illegal? Or were the schools perfectly within their rights to racially segregate their classrooms?
That hypothetical has nothing to do with him being deported. By the time that Tom Homan and the Trump administration deported him, before the Supreme Court ruled on anything, it was perfectly lawful for them to do what they did. So, no, you're wrong.
So, A, it's not a hypothetical. This is American history.
It is a hypothetical. It doesn't have anything to do with him being deported, does it?
American history.
What's racism got to do with being deported?
American history is not hypothetical. And then B, the relevance of this is because you're saying that Tom Homan was in his right to deport Abrigo Garcia until the Supreme Court ruled that he wasn't. Okay? But the Supreme
Under the
Court
Trump administration, yes, he was.
So the Supreme Court ruled that he was not.
That was after the fact. That was after the fact. He's already been incarcerated for
crimes,
several weeks.
So crimes are always legislated on after the crime happens. If I murder somebody today and I go to court tomorrow, what I did today was illegal if the court rules it was illegal. If Tom Homan deports Abrigo Garcia today and the Supreme Court rules it's illegal in a month from now, what Tom Homan did today was illegal.
Did the Supreme Court hold Trump administration in contempt?
So that's being adjudicated.
Yes,
by
that's a yes
court.
or no. That's a yes or no. Did the Supreme Court hold the Trump administration in contempt for their offer to facilitate?
So they are not holding him in contempt because what facilitation of his return means is being delineated by a lower circuit court. But this is neither here nor there as it relates to my refutation of your claim that Tom Homan's deportation of Abrigo Garcia is illegal. We're debating about if what Tom Homan did was legal or illegal. You're arguing that what he did was legal. I'm arguing that what he did was illegal. My evidence that it was illegal is that the Supreme Court said so. What is your evidence?
Oh, see, we're going back to the same old hypothetical nonsense. It's bullshit.
What do you think a hypothetical is?
I wasn't
wait,
even
slow down. What do you think a hypothetical is?
It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. The Constitution. The Constitution affordable to United States.
You said 3 times that his deportation was legal. You're wrong. Admit it. Also, you have no clue what the word hypothetical means.
I happen to have a pocket constitution. Let's read the 14th Amendment. Let's read just a few. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States
What?
and of the state
What is
wherein they reside.
what does the
No
14th
state,
Amendment have to do with the
wait, let me
legality of
finish.
Abrigo Garcia's
No
deportation?
state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges. Where does it say illegals? Does it?
I said
Where does it say?
so
Where does it say non-citizens there?
So
Okay.
I'm really confused on what you reading the 14th Amendment has to do with the Supreme Court's ruling. Are you just saying that the Supreme Court was wrong in ruling it's illegal?
No. Well, if you want to go into hypotheticals and opinions,
I'm going to read you a quote. This is from the Supreme Court. I want you to respond to this quote. Quote unquote. The United States acknowledges that the Abrigo Garcia was subject to a withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. This decision was made unanimously by all 9 judges, and it was authorized by Chief Justice John Roberts on April 10th, 2025. If the Supreme Court disagrees with you on the legality of an action committed inside of the jurisdiction of the United States of America, you're wrong.
did the Supreme Court hold the Trump administration in contempt?
I've already answered that question. It is not relevant.
No, you didn't. I said it was a yes or no, and you didn't do that. You skirted around and gave me all kinds.
They said what he was doing was therefore illegal, and he has to facilitate his return. Not that what he did was therefore illegal, and we're going to hold him in contempt. The answer to your question is no. It doesn't mean that it wasn't illegal, because once again, they said it was illegal. Can you admit that the Supreme Court disagrees with you? Can you admit that?
Did the Trump administration, were they held in contempt of court?
No.
You won't answer yes or no.
The answer is no.
Okay. Guess why that is?
Guess why that is? I'm not going to guess. I know why. It's because a lower circuit court is delineating what facilitation of Abrigo Garcia's return looks like. But this doesn't matter. I'm merely trying to get you to admit that his deportation was illegal. Okay, we'll debate on that after you admit that his deportation was illegal.
That's not right.
Okay.
At the time, it was not illegal.
Can you admit that the Supreme Court disagrees with you?
They were already headed back.
Can you admit that the Supreme Court
Venezuela?
Can you admit that the Supreme Court disagrees with you?
That's a hypothetical. What does that have to do?
That's not hypothetical.
What? Okay.
They literally
weren't held
They
in
literally disagree with you in real life. Once again, and I quote. And I quote. Abrigo Garcia was subject to withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. The Supreme Court ruled that Tom Homan, deporting Abrigo Garcia was illegal. That Tom Homan was not within his rights to do so. That's what the Supreme Court said in a decision made on April 10th, 2025. Respond to what I just said.
That's irrelevant.
Okay, so your claim is Tom Homan was well within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia. Abrigo Garcia's deportation was fine and legal. And the fact that the Supreme Court said it was illegal and that Tom Homan was not within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia is irrelevant. Sir, you can't fix stupid. That the Supreme Court is not irrelevant. Okay? The Supreme Court ruling that you're wrong is not irrelevant at all.
I didn't say the Supreme Court was irrelevant.
Yes, you did.
I said what you're trying to say is irrelevant.
What I'm saying,
I said
I'm quoting the Supreme Court. My words are coming from Chief Justice John Roberts. Chief Justice John Roberts said that the United States acknowledges that Abrigo Garcia was subject to a withholding order forbidding his removal to El Salvador, and that the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. That's Chief Justice John Roberts speaking, not me.
that's after the fact.
What did that ruling state?
It was legal for Tom Homan and
the ruling came after the fact, but the ruling was what happened was illegal. He's saying that what happened a month ago was illegal. He's saying that what happened when Tom Homan deported Abrigo Garcia was illegal. Like literally, read through it with me. I'm gonna say 3 words and you're gonna repeat them. The United States, you say it. Say it, Paleo.
What is it you want me to say?
We're going to both repeat Chief Justice's John Roberts' words. Okay, we're gonna go three
Well,
words at a time.
I don't have my PC running
Don't
right
worry,
now. So
I got it
all
right in
I've
front of you.
got you
I'll
on
go.
is
I'll go
my
first.
phone.
I'll go first. Say the United States.
No, I'm not going to play that game. I'm telling you.
Wait, why? Because
the
it
Trump
disputes what you're saying.
The
Chief Justice John. Okay, yes or no? Did Chief Justice John Roberts affirm that what Tom Homan did was illegal?
Okay, you keep muting my mic.
Yes
and
or
I'm
no?
trying my best not to talk over you.
Chief Justice
I'm trying
John,
to be polite.
Did Chief Justice John Roberts affirm that Tom Homan was not within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia because Abrigo Garcia's removal to El Salvador was illegal?
It doesn't matter, because what they did was before the ruling, and it was legal to the Constitution when the Trump administration deported him. And the Venezuelan government said they weren't going to bring him back home. The reason Trump was not in contempt was because they did facilitate.
Okay.
They followed the law.
Okay, I'm going to make this one clear.
The Trump
I'm gonna make this
administration,
one clear.
earlier talking to that other guy.
Sorry, you're back on mute. What you said was wrong there. You're saying that because the ruling came after it happened, they were in their right at their time. Stephen, that's not true. Supreme Court
It
decisions
is true.
are retroactively enforced.
That's debatable. That's
it's not.
debatable because
It's not.
yes, it is.
No.
It is.
No.
Then why didn't they hold the Trump administration in contempt if
Because it's
not?
down at a lower circuit court. I mean, like, I
No,
mean,
it's not.
The evidence that this was retroactively enforced upon the infraction that they were legislating on. Like, think about it this way. Here's another good way of thinking about it. Do you remember that kid that like shot people at BLM protests? What was his name? That killed people? Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay. Do you remember Kyle Rittenhouse?
Kyle Rittenhouse was not a BLM protester.
I know, he killed the BLM protesters. Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay.
The guy ran towards him, tried to take the rifle away
Shut
from
up.
him.
I'm not going to debate
Oh,
on this.
don't tell me to shut up.
I'm going to tell you to shut up.
I
if
don't have
want
to shut up.
Yes, you do. I'll force you to.
I can
just
tell
mute
you to shut up.
No, you can't, because you can't mute me, but I can mute you. Who
Well,
holds the
that's
power?
okay. I don't care.
Who holds
You
the
can
power?
still shut up.
Quite frankly, I won't. Think about it this way. When the courts inevitably ruled that what Rittenhouse did was legal, was that ruling retroactively enforced on Rittenhouse's actions on the day?
Another hypothetical that you're trying to trap me in.
What's a
That I'm not going to play that game.
What's a hypothetical?
Because it's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with what I said. Nothing. Absolutely
Sir.
nothing. You're trying to lead me.
The relevance of this is like me just explaining to you how courts work, man.
I don't have to know how court. I know how courts work.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. The
No.
Supreme Court. You're trying to tell me. You sat there and you contradicted
So
yourself.
if
you said
Tom,
the Supreme
how
Court.
about, I'm going to ask you an easier
you
question.
asked me.
I'm going to ask you an easier question. If Tom Rittenhouse was within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia, how come the Supreme Court said he was not within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia? How come?
Did you ask me if the Supreme Court was the law over any?
No.
other court?
I want you to answer the very specific question I'm asking you. If Tom Homan was within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia, how come the Supreme Court said he wasn't?
Did you not say the Supreme Court rules over any other court?
Answer my question.
They were the law of the land.
Yeah, they're the law of the land.
Well,
so
you
how come
answer
the
my
law of the
question
land said
first.
that Tom Homan was not within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia?
They didn't say that.
Yeah, they did. I'll reread the quote.
No, they
did say
didn't.
that. Yes, they did. They said that his removal
They
to El
did-
Salvador
they-
was illegal.
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, they did. They said that
What-
his removal
what
to El
they
Salvador
did-
was illegal. No, this is
what
a
they
quote.
did-
This is a quote. And the removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. Yeah,
Doesn't matter. It was already done.
But that meant that Tom Homan wasn't in his rights to do it.
What did the judge say before?
Answer.
What did the judge?
Answer.
What did the lower court federal judge say
Answer.
before-
What did the
judge-
Answer. If Tom Homan was within his rights to deport Abrigo Garcia, how come the Supreme Court said he wasn't?
What did the lower court's federal judge say?
Dominic,
before
thank you so
it
much
went
for the
to
motorcycle.
Supreme Court?
Who cares? It's the lower court.
But that's what you just contradicted yourself again.
How?
The Supreme Court has the law of the land, right?
Oh, you're saying a court lower than the Supreme Court. That's why it doesn't matter.
But the lower courts, what did they say about the illegal Garcia being transported? What did he say?
Why
What
should
did the judge
why
say?
why should I give a single shit? Whatever
Because
their
I'm
ruling
gonna
was,
make
it
a
was
point.
their ruling
Because
was
I'm going to make a
their
point.
ruling was nullified by the Supreme Court. I have no clue what their ruling was. It doesn't matter because only the Supreme Court's ruling matters. It's overruled.
Why don't you?
Because unironically, it was overruled.
Because you don't know anything
Dominic, thank you for the
about
Lily
it
the Leon. I
other
appreciate
than
you for
what
the
you
love.
looked up on the internet.
I don't know anything about it rather than what the Supreme Court said about it. Idiot.
Oh no, I'm not the idiot. You're
Yeah,
the
you are.
idiot. You don't even know what the federal judge
You're the
said.
idiot. Yeah, why should
I'm
I
not
care
the
about an
idiot.
overruled ruling?
Because it's part of the law.
No, it's actually not. It's actually not. It was overruled by the Supreme Court. Wrong.
Well, no, the Supreme Court sided with that federal judge, see, because the federal judge said for them to turn the plane back around and bring him back. And they couldn't do it because they were already in international waters.
We're not talking about what follows the fact that it's illegal. We haven't gotten there yet. We're just
No,
talking about the
that's
fact
not
that it was
follow.
illegal.
That's prior. That's before.
We're talking about the fact that if it was or was not illegal, if they were within their rights or not within their rights to deport them. They were not within their rights because the Supreme Court said so.
Well, no, it's not illegal because the Venezuela government said that we could not have him back.
Wait, now you're talking about a whole other
he
circumstance. This
would have
guy's
just
in Venezuela and he's El Salvadorian. You're talking about another circuit court that legislated on something else. Idiot.
He would be
We're talking about Abrigo
he would be
Garcia.
deported again if he were brought back.
Okay, none of this matters. I literally all that we're
But
trying
it
to agree
does
on.
matter.
No, it doesn't. You fucking idiot. All that we're trying to
Oh,
agree
no,
on,
I'm
you
not-
idiot, is that when Tom Homan deported Abrigo Garcia, you idiot, it was illegal, you idiot. The reason I think it's illegal, you idiot, is because the Supreme Court said it was illegal, you idiot. So, idiot, why don't you go ahead and respond to my facts that I shared with you as an idiot? It should make sense to you that when the Supreme Court says it was illegal, you idiot, that means that it was illegal, you idiot. Meaning that Tom Homan was not within his right to deport Abrigo Garcia, you idiot.
Have ammunition. You depend on your web search and your cheat sheet.
I
cue
depend on the
cards
Supreme Court ruling,
on your
idiot.
computer screen.
I depend on what the Supreme Court says to determine the legality of something. That's right, idiot. That is what I
But
do,
you
idiot.
contradicted yourself earlier. You
What was
said
the
the lower
contradicting,
courts
idiot?
and then the higher courts, and then the lower courts.
Be very clear about my contradiction, idiot.
Oh, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, you
You're
are,
the
idiot.
idiot because
No, that's you,
you
idiot.
don't know facts.
Can you make my
You only
contradiction
know
clear, idiot?
what you can look up on your computer.
When I look up on my computer off of the if the Supreme Court website is the fact, you idiot. The fact of the matter is that they ruled it illegal, idiot. Also, you're the one that mentioned the lower courts. Idiot.
Bullshit.
No, I literally read your
You
quote.
get up there you get up on your pulpit and you use scenarios of gotcha politic questions.
What?
And you use scenarios of hypotheticals. Without those, you have nothing.
My only argument this whole time has been a non-gotcha, non-hypothetical fucking statement from the Supreme Court. How's a statement from the Supreme Court a hypothetical?
No, what you try to run on the table is hypotheticals. You're asking me all kinds of questions. Well, what about this?
All that I'm
what about racism?
All that I'm trying to run is like the Supreme Court decision. It's simple. You said that Abrigo Garcia's deportation was illegal. Was legal. Okay, I'm saying that you're wrong. I'm saying
It doesn't matter if it's illegal or not. The Venezuelan government doesn't recognize America.
It does matter if it's legal or illegal. That's what we're debating. Like that's specifically what I took issue with you saying. Is the specific thing that I'm taking issue with you right now is that you said that it was legal.
I said the Trump administration was lawfully and legally within their rights at the time. Tom Homan was perfect. Yes, they were.
Why does the Supreme Court disagree?
Was there a ruling before they left?
No, there wasn't a ruling before they left. The ruling that it was illegal came after the fact.
There you go.
That doesn't mean that it was lawful at the time. Just like racial segregation in schools was not lawful until the ruling was made. Like you understand that what you're saying is that like at one point that it was legal, like racial segregation in schools was legal. Actually, no, it was always illegal. Okay, it just took a civil court case to make that determination. That's just the way that the law works. Like that's why, like why, like when they say it like in clear text on the ruling. I want to clarify that they say that his removal to El Salvador was therefore illegal. Like, okay, if it was legal, how come they said it was illegal? Like seriously, are you arguing that Abrigo Garcia's removal to El Salvador was legal?
Yeah, he's a convicted terrorist.
Oh, okay. So the Supreme Court said that, and I quote, the removal to El Salvador was illegal. It can't get any more clear than that. How could it get more clear than that? It can't.
The Supreme Court and the United States government can't dictate what Venezuelan government can or cannot do.
We're not talking
They're a
about
different
Venezuelan
government
law. We're
all on
talking
their
about
own.
American law.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
It trumps American law.
Wait.
No pun intended.
There it comes. Mask off.
Yeah, they don't.
There
have to
it
return
comes.
him
There
because
it
they
comes.
don't
There it comes.
recognize-
There it comes.
they
There it
don't
comes. There it
recognize
goes.
American
There it is. There it is,
judicial
everybody.
law.
There it is, everybody. You follow Trump's law. You don't follow the judicial law. You don't
No, you just
follow the
missed what I
court's law.
said.
You don't
I
follow the
said-
Supreme Court's law. You follow Trump's law. If Trump says something, it's legal. It's legal.
No,
it doesn't
you
matter
told-
if the
you
Supreme Court
misunderstood
calls
what I
it
said.
illegal.
I said Venezuelan government trumps U.S. law.
Venezuela has nothing to do with the Abrigo Garcia. He's not even from it. He's from fucking El Salvador. What are you talking about? Listen.
Okay, well, El Salvador. Excuse me, I misspoke. El Salvador.
So I have a question. You said that his removal to El Salvador is legal. Why does the Supreme Court disagree with you?
That South American government trumps American government. That's what I meant. Even though I misspoke. Okay, it's El Salvador. It's still their government.
Wait, you
They
think
have
that El Salvador gets to determine what's legal or illegal for Trump to do? That's not true.
No, they get to decide what's legal or illegal with their own citizens.
Right.
Which he was
exactly.
one.
So, but we're talking about what Tom Homan and Trump did. So under which
They were
countries-
perfectly within their rights to do what they did.
Okay.
If they
That-
weren't,
that's-
then they would have been stopped before they did it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The lower courts would have stopped him before. And then they would have had to have.
That's not true. Wait, so you're a cult member.
It
You think
is
Did
true.
Biden steal 2020?
That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It does. It does.
And I'm not
It
going to
does.
follow that.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You definitely believe that. Right?
How? How does it?
Oh,
how does
because
deportation
guess what?
deal with Biden?
Because
in
guess
the
what,
2020
Paleo?
election?
Biden stole the 2020 election from Trump, and he was perfectly within his rights to do so because the lower courts didn't stop him.
That has nothing. That's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with deportation, legal or illegal. Nothing. And it's not the same thing.
It is. He was perfectly
Did the
within his
Supreme-
rights. He was perfectly within his rights to steal it from Trump because the lower courts didn't stop him.
That has nothing to do with what I'm talking
Do you
about. And
disagree
it's a
with me?
different scenario, and it's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same thing.
There we go. Chad, I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually like, I need to get off now. And if I don't get off now, like, I won't go live tomorrow. I'm actually like torturing myself. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know that I'm like talking really chill and really calm. I gotta go. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is too much to take. But before I do, RS, thank you so much for the $20 super chat over on YouTube. I do really appreciate that. Everybody, please show some love to RS down below in that chat. As well as Sydney, thank you for the 10. And Noah, thank you so much for the $50 super chat over on YouTube. Thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate that, Noah. That's so incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for the love. Noah, everyone, I want to see 500 Noah W's down below in that chat right now for the $50 donation. That is so incredibly kind. Thank you so much. As well as I believe that there's a handful of other people over on PayPal and Venmo. Linda, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal, stating that I had to give you a second donation for hanging in there for so long. Yeah, today was terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Today was sucked. Thank you for the love, Linda. And then as well as Kay, thank you so much for the $20 donation over on PayPal, saying, quote unquote, I'm not your therapist, end quote. Thank you for slapping down these impotent men callers. Yeah, man, these people are really bad today. I really appreciate you for the $20 donation. That's incredibly kind of you. As well as Michelle, thank you for the $20 on Venmo, saying, how dare you depend on facts. I'll send another $20 if you agree to never let Paleo Steve back up. Michelle, you got it. I agree to never let Steve back up on the live. You win. Absolutely. Thank you for the $20 donation. Elena with a $20 donation as well, saying, MAGA did not send their best today. My head hurts, and I'm guessing yours does too. So here's money to buy you a drink after this. You know what? I'm going to actually use that money to buy a drink. Thank you for helping me determine what I want to use my evening for. W. Elena. Oh, with a $5 saying, Jesus Christ, America's a failed state. Given the sample size of your fucking guest today, I'm going back to Ukraine because I'd rather get shot through the head than listen to more of these morons. For those curious, O is Ukrainian. I want to make that very clear. O is Ukrainian. I'll make that very clear. O is from Ukraine, grew up in Ukraine. Thought I'd make that one clear. Damn O. Brooklyn, thank you so much for the $10 over on Venmo. That is incredibly kind. That is crazy work. I gotta say, O, that is probably the craziest donation message I've ever read. Olena. Megan, thank you so much for the $50 over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Megan. Everybody, please show some love to Megan down below in that comment section. That is incredibly kind of you, Megan. Megan says, thanks for putting up with so much MAGA crap. You rock. Megan, you're the best, dude. Thank you so much for the love. And this is an hour ago, Erica with the $20, saying, my wife now loves listening to your live streams along with me. We are screaming at the phone like it's our version of sports. I'm still backed up on my other pods. We love you, Dean. Thanks for all the knowledge. Dude, good to have you in here, Eric. I see you in here all the time. Thank you for the $20. As well as Tas with the 20 saying, keep fighting the good fight. Thank you so much for the love, Tas. That is Small Cheeks on TikTok. You guys are so incredibly kind. I appreciate everyone so much. As well as, let's see here, Christy, thank you so much for the $50. Saying, for the brain cells you lost on Paleo's Gotcha. Oh, dude, I lost a lot of brain cells there. I'm not going to lie. Thank you for the love, Christy. Huge shout out, Christy, okay? Huge shout out, fucking Christy, okay? Let's get that one clear. As well as Michelle with the $20 saying, thank you, Michelle. I love you. Thank you, Christy, Michelle. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome sauce, dude. As well, okay, we got a couple more. Shin with a $20 super chat on YouTube saying add paleo perm block. Yeah, that guy's never coming back. Shout out Shannon. Oh my God. Sid with a $300 super chat on YouTube saying thanks for showing up today. Sorry it was awful. Sid! Sid! Dude! I don't even know how to respond to that. That's insane. Are you joking? No, you're obviously you're not joking. I don't know why I say that. Everybody, show some love to Sid for the $300 donation on YouTube Super Chat. Oh my God. Thank you, Sid. That's incredibly kind of you. Shout out Sid in the chat. Shout out Sid in the chat. SYD. Oh, love Sid here. It's incredibly kind. Wow. All right. Show some love to Sid. We are going to go ahead and end the stream for the day. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not feeling too good tonight. I'm going to go get a drink. Non-alcoholic one, by the way. Make that one clear. Get some grape juice. Okay? All right. Get some grape juice. Make a Godfather. Replace the scotch with apple juice and the amaretto with some vanilla syrup. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to get a non-alcoholic drink because I'm below the legal drinking age. That's right. See you tomorrow. I love you guys. Peace out and take care. Oh, one last thing. Parker's going to come back a different man. Can't tell y'all why. Can't tell y'all how. I can't tell you guys what I'm referring to. Parker's a changed man. Parker's a changed man. He's a changed man. Let me tell you. Big news. Big news. Changed man he is. Oh, another thing. I'm terrible. You'll probably see him soon. Hopefully. All right. Good night, y'all. Love you all. Bye-bye. Bye, chat.